If the world were like a Sleep Number mattress, everything would adapt for your comfort. Because as your life changes and your body changes, Sleep Number mattresses adapt and shift to give you personalized comfort night after night. And now everything's on sale during our Memorial Day event. Save up to $1,200 on mattresses for a limited time. To experience a whole new world of comfort, visit a Sleep Number store or go to sleepnumber.com. Sleep Number, to a good life sleep.
Make game day yours. Tickets, food and drinks, stats, and streaming. Everything you need is in the Utah Mammoth app. Download today and make game night easy. Download on both Android and iPhone. Tusk Top.
We're all locked in now.
Your home for the best sports radio in Utah is right here on the KSL Sports Zone. It's time to kick off your afternoon drive with Jake Scott and Ben Anderson.
Allow me to introduce the best of the best.
On 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Jake and Ben, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Man, Ben, I didn't, based on yesterday's show, we talked a lot of draft and what the Jazz should do. I had no idea I was going to be doing a full reversal on a take yesterday in such short order.
A lot changed.
Breaking news about an hour ago, Ben. Ace Bailey has signed with Klutch Sports, the agency announced.
And your take yesterday was?
Well, my take yesterday was stay away from... Caleb Wilson, because he's a Klutch guy, so eliminate him immediately. And then I said the Jazz we were talking about trading or trading up or something like that, and we were talking about, if you need to get a star, the number 2 pick, or, would that pick even turn out to be better than Ace Bailey? They should keep Ace Bailey. Certainly don't consider trading that guy. Trade that guy.
You're saying trade Ace Bailey?
Trade Ace Bailey. I don't care if it's trading up. I don't care if it's trading out.
Pennies on the dollar.
Trade.
Because you're out on Klutch.
I'm out on Klutch.
Yeah.
All they do is twist arms.
Sure.
For example, Ben, do you remember who the Lakers picked over the guy that looks like a professional bowler?
Who's that?
Really? You don't remember? God, why am I losing his name? Played last night on the Thunder. Traded from the Bulls. He looks like a professional bowler with a headband. Caruso.
Yes.
Sorry. Thank you. God. Sorry. Apologies to everybody. Do you remember who the Lakers signed instead of Alex Caruso?
Was it Rusty Westbrook?
Nope. Christian, get the drop ready.
I do remember.
Get the drop ready.
Mr. Talen Horton-Tucker.
Hot dog!
Hot dog!
You're right.
Why did the Lakers do that, Ben?
Klutch.
Because of Adele.
Yeah.
Because Adele called on the phone and said, Rob, you got to sign Hot Dog, bro.
We'll tell you who the right guy is.
You got to do it. And Rob said, I don't know. This Caruso guy can kind of guard. He played his way onto the roster, kind of playing a critical role.
Hello.
You're signing Talen Horton-Tucker. Congratulations. Yeah, I think, the Ace should go back to what's his name's dad?
Go back to, now I've got names all over.
Omar Cooper.
Yeah.
Get Omar on the horn.
Yeah.
He would be an upgrade.
Sure. Over Klutch. Again, Omar Cooper was not a true agent. He was a manager, so he's not negotiating contracts and can't do that. Yes, Klutch has the ability to do that. This was really, really kind of the overwhelming favorite a year ago, maybe not quite, 10 months ago, after the draft where Ace had fired his representation and didn't really have an agent. Everyone assumed it was going to be Klutch, and then they just didn't sign. He wasn't with anybody all year, and so people just thought, oh, who knows? But yeah, ends up being Klutch anyways. And yes, you've been out on Klutch.
I'm out on Klutch. They don't... I don't like the way they represent their clients. And they certainly... I think the best agents, Ben, and we'll dive into the draft, of course. We've got a lot coming on. But I truly think the best agents are the ones that work with teams for mutual benefit, and that's not Klutch's style.
No, they're all player.
They're all player.
Yeah.
What's his name? Bartlestein could represent Joe Ingles and Gordon Hayward at the same time and do right by both of them and the team. And I know Bartlestein's kind of a dirty word because how that played out, but from an agent standpoint, he did his job in a very touchy situation. He's a good agent. Mm-hmm. He was Britton Johnson's agent. Talk to Britton about how good Bartlestein is. I think, who was Stockton's agent, the super agent that had Jordan to the Scott Boras of the NBA? Falk. He was very player, but he was also very much in the mutually beneficial game.
Sure.
And I don't know if Klutch does that. And honestly, the Jazz are going to have to make a critical decision on Ace Bailey, and in the next couple of years, and they're going to have They're going to have to spend their cap room very wisely, mm-hmm. and agents are really going to matter. Now, Klutch is also not very good for their players that they don't think are very good.
Right. They don't seem to care about them nearly as much.
And they sign bad deals.
Yeah.
Colin Sexton signed a bad deal with the Jazz.
Yeah.
It turned out to be a good deal for the Jazz.
Yeah, it's fine.
But it was not a good deal for Colin Sexton at the time. Anyway, so after yesterday's fiery discussion about Klutch Sports, Ace Bailey signed the very next day. Man.
Well, we'll see what type of a priority he becomes for them. But you're not wrong that it does become interesting of, fit, representation, what they want for their player, who's going to bat for their player, and all this stuff does matter. The agents will call and say, hey, you get to draft a guy at the same position as my guy? Mm-hmm. I thought he was your guy. I thought you really liked Ace. And now you're going to draft this player? How's he going to start? Ace wants to start. We think Ace should start. He's the number 5 overall pick. If you don't want him, if you don't want to value him, we can probably find another place for him. Mm-hmm. And those types of conversations certainly do happen.
Ben, tell me who was the architect of James Harden fatting himself out of Houston?
Was it Klutch? There you go.
And then when he had to fat himself out of Brooklyn?
Did the same thing.
I don't know if he technically fatted himself out of the Clippers.
No.
There was something nefarious going on, though.
Yeah, it was not ideal.
That is still one of the wildest things, the Clippers truly pulling the plug on the season mid-season when they were going to make the playoffs. Mm-hmm. And trading Zubats, which, of course, is controversial because the Clippers picked up the 5th pick in that trade. But that was still one of the more bizarre things ever. If it weren't for Klutch, I don't think the Clippers do that.
I don't know. I don't know if they were waiting for the aspiration stuff to come down. I don't know if they thought there was a bigger issue there. I really don't know what that thought process was, though it did work, and they ended up adding another number 5 overall pick as a chance to restart the roster, obviously.
Because of the Zubats trade, but that came after. Mm-hmm. They thought that they were done for.
And it was weird that they owed their pick to the Thunder and decided to tank anyways. Yeah, that's a real gamble.
So there's a reason they did that.
Not tank, but not go all in. They traded Zubats.
There's
a reason. Harden.
Yeah, they just got lucky.
Yeah.
Much like with Dallas, it covers up a lot of stuff when you just get lucky. They just got lucky. But them pulling the plug on the season was truly one of the more bizarre decisions. And maybe it was because of an extension, except for James Harden didn't sign an extension in Cleveland.
Right.
So I just think, it matters. It matters who represents these players, and so we'll see. I mean, the Jazz have had multiple Klutch players on their roster pretty much the whole time the Agents have been there. So
Jazz won't be scared of it.
No.
I don't think, Jazz will do their due diligence.
But nobody with the ceiling of Ace Bailey is the problem.
Right.
If he becomes a multi-time All-Star, they're going to want him to stay in Salt Lake.
Ben, you had behind-the-scenes sources on this one. Adele had De'Aaron Fox out of Sacramento.
Like a year and a half before it happened. Yeah, no,
that's
it's
what
real.
they do.
Absolutely, it's real. Yeah, that's something you've got to pay attention to. You've got to make sure that these guys are happy. Now, you also, along those same lines, have to believe that you're not the Sacramento Kings. And I do think when we've looked at Ryan Smith's ownership so far, a big thing that he's tried to lay out is that the players are welcome in Salt Lake and happy to, or can be happy in Salt Lake, and that they're not going to be a poorly run organization like the Sacramento Kings, so you aren't afraid to have your players there and don't feel like your players can succeed there. And so far, I think he's done a very good job. And, look, you're going to hear conversations about, do you think Darryn Peterson wants to go to the Jazz if he ends up being the pick at number 2? And, the Jazz got to get up to number 1 to get AJ Dybantsa because he's already shown a willingness to live in Utah and he'll sign a third contract there. He's going to sign a second contract. going to sign a third contract there. It's like that's so far down the road, it doesn't really matter, but that's going to be some conversation people have about Boozer or AJ over a Darryn Peterson and how he fits. Now, Darryn Peterson's not a Klutch guy, so don't worry about that necessarily, but those are conversations that are going to be had, and I think it's one of the battles that Ryan Smith has willingly forged to change that narrative, and I think that's probably a smart move.
Yeah, they've done a good job treating their players well and working with it. I'm trying to remember, and then we can move on and talk about the draft. But I'm trying to remember who Jamie Watson's agent was, because Larry Miller vowed never to work with that agent again, and it wasn't Manley because that ended up being Carl's agent. I'm trying to remember who the agent was, but they had a chance to flip AK for Sean Marion down the line, and Larry Miller said no, because Marion had that same guy was his agent. So it's funny how those behind the scenes things totally work.
Yep.
People talking about the Jazz, it seems like there's a little more, I don't know, Ben, where it's coming from, a little more at least buzz out there about the Jazz possibly trading up because they love AJ Dybantsa so much. Follow me here. This is my logic that I've come up with today. Absolutely do not do it. Okay. You know why? Because I think both players are going to be good. Mm-hmm. It's one of those win-win type scenarios. But if there is a wrong decision to be made, Washington's going to make it.
Sure.
Whoever falls to the Jazz is going to be the better of the two. I would almost bet on it.
This is exactly what I'm writing about today in the mailbag, and kind of the question of this. Should the Jazz trade up to number one? And there's I just kind of think there's a logical fallacy involved with all of it. And it's a little bit different than the other times we've seen number one overall picks traded. It's extraordinarily rare. When it has happened, it was Maple Jordan, who we brought up, Andrew Wiggins yesterday we brought it up. Uh-huh. And that happened because the Cavaliers that same summer also added LeBron James and then wanted to win a title and had another number one overall pick already.
And LeBron was jealous,
and needed a veteran. And they got a veteran and it worked. Mm-hmm. And they won a title within 3 years and made 4 finals with Kevin Love instead of Andrew Wiggins. It was clearly the right move. The other notable one I remember, and I wonder if it's happened since then, I honestly can't remember, is the Penny Hardaway-Chris Webber trade. Chris Webber was the number one overall pick. Penny Hardaway was 3. The year before, the Orlando Magic had won the number one overall pick and drafted Shaq.
Yep.
And then the next year didn't feel like they needed another front court player. They wanted a backcourt player, so they felt like they should have moved back to get Penny and traded Chris Webber to Golden State and with a bunch of draft picks. So that's the other one I really remember.
You're missing a big one.
Okay, which was that?
Maybe the second worst trade of all time.
Which one was that? Oh, yes, Markelle Fultz for Jason Tatum. Yes, of course.
Fultz, who currently plays for?
Nobody. The Clippers?
Nobody.
He signed a 10-day with Toronto. I think he signed a 10-day with Toronto. But yes, nobody. And Jason Tatum's won a title.
And Danny Ainge got other assets for the pleasure.
Correct. So, yes, that is another big one. I thank you for bringing that up. The difference there being Philly also felt like that's a little similar to the Shaq trade. They already had Joel Embiid. They felt like they needed a true point guard. Did they already have Ben Simmons also?
No, not yet.
They didn't have Simmons yet?
I don't think so.
I can't remember the order of all of that. But regardless, they felt like they needed a backcourt player. Specifically, they started drafting for fit, and the Celtics just decided they needed the best player available, even though at times people thought they needed a point guard, which is also very revealing that you should never draft for fit. You should always just draft the best player available. I'm not sure that what the Wizards and the Jazz are dealing with right here.
Fultz was 2017, by the way.
So Simmons must come after that? No, yeah. Simmons, I can't remember, and honestly, the order. You'll have to bring it up. But
2016, so it was the year after.
The year after.
That's
and
hilarious.
Everyone kind of knew he wasn't a point guard, so they wanted a guy who would, bring the ball up and space the floor, and they could play in the backcourt together, and obviously it just flopped horrendously. And you think of just how good of a fit Jason Tatum would have been on that roster.
Fultz started getting coached by his cousin, right? And then forgot how to play basketball.
Yeah. It's like,
his cousin's like, hey, guess what? You should try this.
Yeah. No. So, anyways, when we're talking about moving from 1 to 2, I think a lot of those teams have done it for fit in the past, which A, is just a huge mistake. You shouldn't do that. Neither the Jazz or Wizards should be considering fit at all with this first or second pick, especially the Wizards, who just need everything. The Wizards are a disaster. They need everything, and they've got some okay young players, but they're not particularly close to competing for anything, so they just need to take the number one guy. Here's the thing. If they're willing to trade back, the question is, why are they willing to trade back? If they don't think there's a huge gap between the number one guy and the number two guy, why should anybody else? To be honest with you, these are good front offices. Everyone has a good front office. They're not perfect by any means. The Wizards haven't done a terrible job drafting. I think they did a good job getting Alex Sarr with the number 2 overall pick. He's clearly better than Zachary Rieseshay, so they made the right choice there. They drafted Keyshawn George late in the first round. He's been very good. They drafted Will Riley late in the first round. He's been very good. They have some competence drafting players. So if they see a guy at number 1 and they think, he's really good, and number 2, he's also really good, I don't think there's a lot of value in the Jazz feeling like they should go nuts to get up to that number 1 overall pick. If the picks are that close, why are you giving up a ton to get there? And then if they're not close, and it's so obvious there's a great number 1 pick, and there's a major drop-off from number 1 to number 2, why would Washington trade it? Washington needs that guy. What is Washington going to get that gets them closer other than a superstar? Well, if they think there's a superstar at 1 and only an okay player at 2, and the Jazz are trying to get out of that spot, why would the Wizards do that? I don't think the logic actually adds up.
I don't necessarily disagree. I think you're overcomplicating it slightly. Okay. Why would Washington move back?
If they felt like the player they liked was going to be available at 2 and they could pick up extra assets. That's the logic.
Bingo.
Yeah.
Why would the Jazz move up to 1?
To get AJ Dybantsa.
I don't know about AJ Dybantsa.
But whoever, a local guy who they think is the best player on the board.
To get their guy, period. I don't know if that... Why would you rule out Peterson being their guy?
No, I might not.
But it would be to leave no doubt...
that they get their player.
Now, why would news... So Washington... Let me put it this way. Let's say Washington's on Peterson. Mm-hmm. That's their guy.
Yeah.
They're buying into the narrative that, Ainge wants to keep Dybantsa in his backyard. Why would I just take Peterson? I'll take Peterson number 2, and I'll take a future first-round pick or whatever from the Utah Jazz so they can guarantee themselves that player.
Yes.
So the Jazz are either going to fight against that narrative or feed into that narrative depending on who their guy is. I actually don't think either team cares about need. They shouldn't.
No, they absolutely should not.
I don't think either team cares about need whatsoever. I think both teams will identify which player they want and then figure out what they can do or if it's worth moving around. Danny Ainge figured out that he wanted Jason Tatum. Mm-hmm. He said to Philadelphia, and you can look at there's some stuff written about the behind the scenes of this, but they basically told Philadelphia they're going to take Fultz. Because Philly had a leaky front office, and it came out that they really wanted Fultz.
Right.
So Danny played him like a fiddle.
And everyone knew the Lakers were going to take Lonzo Ball, too.
Because Magic Johnson is a moron.
He got tricked.
Got duped by LeVar Ball.
Yes.
I mean, it is one of the most savvy moves out there. They said, okay, well, we're just going to take your guy. And Philly said, panic, Ben, panic. And they made a horrible trade, and they traded up, and they got a non-player. Danny Ainge still got his guy, and he picked up assets. You do no, whatever happens, Ben, you don't want to be Philadelphia.
Correct.
Whatever, trade it, keep it, whatever. You don't want to be Philadelphia. You don't want to be the team that gets played. I would guess the Jazz are floating it out there that they want AJ Dybantsa because of all the stuff we're talking about. And then they're going to see how it plays out. Maybe Washington gets buffaloed into something because they're convinced they know what the Jazz are going to do.
Yeah.
But I think it all hinges on, like Gavoni. Did you hear Gavoni? We can play this clip a little bit later on, but your guy Jabroni jumped on with Zach Lowe, and he was talking about how Peterson's the guy. Peterson's been the guy since they've been like 15, and he's still the guy now. Well, if Washington knows that, they're going to threaten to take Dybantsa and try to bilk something out of the Jazz. Don't be the sucker. Let Washington pick the guy that they want to pick. And honestly, if Jazz get stuck, quote unquote, with Darryn Peterson, who cares? He's a great player. Yeah, I wouldn't move at all. I'd just be blowing smoke if I were the Jazz.
And that's where I totally am. Yeah, you know what? The best thing to do is if you're the Jazz and you want AJ Dybantsa, make everyone think you want Darryn Peterson. That would be my whole thing, is make everyone feel like, why do the Jazz want him so bad? Why do the Jazz want this guy so bad? I think we have to take him, and then your guy falls to you. I'm not going nuts, though, to get up to number one. I'm certainly not giving up Ace Bailey. I'm certainly not giving up a lot of future draft picks. If it was one pick, if you're giving up maybe one pick or a protected future pick, and we know these picks are getting so wonky and probably losing value in future years, I would certainly consider it. The problem is if that's the only price you're paying, then I don't think Washington says yes. I think Washington wants what Boston got to move up, or to move back, I should say.
Why are you're, I guess, not exactly assuming, but I would never assume that AJ Dybantsa is the Jazz guy.
No, I wouldn't guarantee that either. I don't know any of these three guys as the Jazz's guy. I'm not saying these guys. This
just because he went to BYU, that they should not make that pick.
No, this could be
they're
Mad
familiar
Libs.
with him.
Honestly, this could be Mad Libs. You could put in any noun here, and it could be the number one pick. I mean, the Jazz are trying to trade up for.
Mm-hmm.
I do think everyone thinks the Jazz want to trade up to AJ to get AJ. I know that's kind of the talk because it's very easy. It's very convenient. Similarly, AJ had a very good day today at the Combine. He had a 42-inch vertical, and we can talk about that more. So just along those lines, I think that's why people think the Jazz would want to trade up. Simple. But yeah, maybe it is Darryn Peterson, or maybe it's Boozer. We don't really know which direction that's going to head. But yes, should the Jazz trade up to number one to make sure they get their guy, period? I think if that's the case, I don't think they're going to be able to offer enough if there's like an obvious number one pick for Washington to move off of it. And if it's not obvious that you have to get one specific guy, then why are you trading a whole lot to move? That's just kind of where I think the cost is not going to be worth it.
Yeah. The only reason Washington would move down is if Peterson was their guy.
Yeah.
That's the only reason. Well, at least move down with the Jazz.
Yeah, and then you have to wonder, why wouldn't Peterson be your guy? And that's a very legitimate question.
So, if I'm the Jazz, I stay put, and I just let Washington make a bad decision, and
I take whoever's next.
Yeah,
I just trust the process, and I keep my players I already have, and I keep my assets I already have, because I don't want to be at an asset deficit once I'm trying to compete for a championship. It's the teams that are trying to compete for a championship that maintain some level of malleability through trade, through the draft, that are able to actually get over the finish line. It's when you trade all your assets for Mike Conley and you realize, oh, we're not quite in the right spot. How do we get to the next place? And you don't have any wiggle room. But when you are the Oklahoma City Thunder, who get trounced, or not trounced, but lose in 6 games to the Dallas Mavericks and realize, ooh, we are one piece away. How do we get there? They still have the draft picks or the financial flexibility to go out and add an Isaiah Hartenstein to their roster. That's where you want to be. You don't want to be broke when it comes to your ability to make changes to your roster once you feel like you've gone mostly in on a championship window.
Yeah, you don't want to ever be capped out if you can help it.
Yeah. And capped out financially or out of assets when it comes to the draft. So I'm not giving up all my draft picks to move up to number one either. Unless I absolutely know AJ's a true can't-miss top 5 player in the league, and I don't think you get that in any draft, really. Certainly not this one.
No.
If it was Wemby, sure. But then again, no one's ever trading Wemby. I mean, that's just the logical fallacy of the whole problem.
It's the tough part about being in the draft.
Yeah.
Don't end up Philadelphia.
Correct.
What were the other 2 examples? I think the Penny Weber trade was a good one for both franchises.
Yeah, that worked out.
And what was the other one? Now the Wiggins Kevin Love thing.
Yeah, really worked out for the Cavaliers.
And Love didn't want to be in Minnesota, so it worked out for it because he had demanded a trade. No,
I believe he was ready to go. Certainly.
So, no, I don't see the Jazz moving or trading up. That doesn't make any sense. And certainly, if AJ Dybantsa is their guy, they should be running away from AJ, but I don't think they can, which actually maybe puts them in a kind of an advantageous position.
Yeah.
Who knows? I do think, and we can talk about this later, that Peterson should want to come to Utah. We could talk about that.
Yeah, he had some interesting comments today.
We'll get into it coming up. We've got top 3 stories of the day at KSLSports.com coming up next. Bob Casper is going to join us at 2:50 to talk PGA Championship. Ricky O'Donnell, NBA writer for SB Nation, will be with us at the top of the 4 o'clock hour. Stay tuned. It's Jake and Ben, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
From lashes for days with the viral Liquid Lash Extensions mascara to awakening your eyes with lift and color from the Brilliant Eye Brightener, Thrive Cosmetics is the go-to when you want to amplify your everyday look. Plus, every product is 100% vegan, cruelty-free, and made with clean, skin-loving ingredients that work with your skin. And for every product purchased, Thrive Causemetics donates to help communities thrive. So every time you use your favorite Thrive Causemetics product, you're helping communities you care about too. Amplify your everyday. Go to thrivecosmetics.com/shine26 for an exclusive offer of 20% off your first order. That's Thrive Cosmetics, CAUSEMETICS.com/shine26.
I drive my bus in a busy city. That's why road safety is so important to me. I know that I must slow down and be extra careful when I make a wide turn. Buses need more room than cars. Everyone can help keep our roads safe. Next time you're driving, remember to give buses plenty of time and space to finish turning before driving ahead. Let's all plan to share the road safely. Learn how at www.sharetheroadsafely.gov.
When it comes to weight loss, you don't need more advice. You need more of what works. That's Weight Watchers, with real tools designed to take the guesswork out of what to eat, how to move, and how to build habits that actually last. That's why Weight Watchers members lose more weight. Real people, real results. Weight Watchers Core Plus. Get started at WeightWatchers.com. In a 6-month clinical trial of over 370 people, those using Weight Watchers saw significantly better results than those following standard nutritional advice alone. See the 2025 study published in the AJCN.
It's time to break down the biggest stories of the day. This is the top 3 stories of the day on KSLSports.com. 97.5 The KSL Sports Zone.
Jake and Ben, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Jake, Scott, Ben, Anderson. It's time for the top 3 stories of the day at KSLSports.com. Brought to you by J. Brooks Jewelers. Cherish your love with J. Brooks Jewelers. Explore their expertly crafted engagement rings made from the finest materials. J. Brooks Jewelers. All right, Christian, where do you want to start today?
Number 1, this just in, coming from the NBA Combine per Shams. Darryn Peterson's camp is telling teams he wants to be a point guard.
That's not surprising. He did a little bit of both on and off the ball at Kansas. He was just so, not rarely in the lineup, but would play 23 minutes a night and then would miss games and then would come back and play 35. They just never really figured out how to use him. And when he was on the court, he was really looking to score. He had a 1-to-1 assist-to-turnover ratio. It's like he's not this crazy playmaker I think that some people expect him to be. At least he hasn't so far. So in that sense, I think a lot of people think, oh, well, that's an off-ball player who's going to be, a spot-up, not a spot-up shooter, but an off-ball shooter and score, and that's going to be his role. In high school, he had the ball in his hands, but he was the best athlete on the floor, and that's what happens in high school. It's like in baseball, your best player is your best hitter and your best pitcher. He's a tier above everyone else, so you're going to put the ball in his hands as often as possible. The truth is he's going to be a combo guard. He may want to be a point guard. I don't know what that means anymore. Keontae George rarely had the ball in college, but has the ball a ton in the NBA. That's going to be the same thing that I think happens with Darryn Peterson. He didn't always have the ball. He's going to have it more in the NBA. But if he shares the backcourt with Keontae George, I think they're just fine.
Yeah, what is a point guard? I think that's an interesting thing. All I care about it, because I think offensively he's probably going to be pretty good. Does he guard? I think that's going to be an important thing. I don't know. He might bully out Keontae a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely.
If that's the direction it goes, or make Keontae a little bit more expendable. Why are they floating that out into the atmosphere, I wonder?
Well, do you wonder if that's aimed at Atlanta? Or, excuse me, not Atlanta, Washington.
At Washington,
because of Trae Young.
He doesn't want to go play with Trae Young.
I don't want to play with Trae. I want the ball in my hands, so don't put me in Washington.
AJ Dybantsa should do the same thing.
Yeah, nobody wants
to
play with
Trae. I, too, am a point guard.
Yes. Well, hey, AJ does love to dribble.
Yes, he does.
So he could probably sell it.
Yeah. AJ's a big dribbler, no question about it. So, no, I think it's interesting. I do think that's...
No, that's where mine... Exactly where you went. That's where my mind went. Like, why would he be floating that out there? Who cares what position you are? Your position, whatever the team and the coach says you are. So,
yeah.
Why are you floating that out there into the universe? What's the point?
And look,
that makes a lot of sense.
Conceivably...
He does not want to play with Trae Young.
All 4 teams already in the top of the draft have point guards. I mean, if you want to say it's number 1, it's Trae Young. If it's 2, it's the Jazz, and they have Keontae George. If it's 3, it's Memphis, and they have to move off of Ja Morant. Maybe they will, and maybe that's what he would be angling for. I kind of don't think that's the case. And if it was 4, it's Josh Giddey. Like, they have a point guard in Chicago. So,
well, if I'm Peterson, I'm looking at, out of all those, who can I beat out? And it's Keontae George.
Yeah, probably Keontae. And you know what? I've talked to a lot of people about Keontae. The Jazz clearly like the idea of putting the ball in his hands. It's not like you entirely lose Keontae's value if he's off the ball. Simply put.
Yeah. I think he needs to fit into the Jazz system. And Keontae did a good job. But last, who did we play? We were talking, the guest on with DJ and PK, who's talking, Geltzeiler, who was talking about whether or not what we saw from last year from Keontae was fake or not. There's some fake to it.
Maybe.
No, I mean, he had the ball the whole game for a bad team. He put up good numbers for a bad team. I mean, it's what we barbecued Bradley Beal about for years.
Sure.
No offense to Keontae.
Yeah.
But there was some fake to it. It was not necessarily real.
I would disagree with that verbiage because I'm just not sure.
He's not going to have the ball nearly as much next year. Not with that team. Not even close.
Yes, his usage will be down.
His numbers are going to go down, and we're going to find out a little bit more what's real. Because lots of players can put up fake numbers on a bad team, and there was something to that. Now, he did show enough that the Jazz went from, we might be off Keontae, to this guy could be a part of the future.
Yeah.
But it wasn't like he made a deep playoff run as the leader of a team, not even close.
Correct.
Now, he hasn't put enough cash in the bank to not get beat out by the number 2 pick, I'll tell you that.
No, absolutely not.
So if the Jazz are even talking about Keontae and Peterson sharing the floor as a consideration whether to take him, I would be shocked.
I'm with you. But I feel the same way about Boozer or Caleb Wilson or AJ Dybantsa. It's like, yeah, guys, AJ's a 3. Well, the Jazz are going to play Lowry Markin at the 3 next year. Well, if AJ's better, you move off of Lowry. In the same way, yeah, if Darryn Peterson's a point guard, Darryn Peterson's a point guard, fine, move him to point guard and move Keontae out if he's not good enough, or move Keontae to the 2. Or if you take Boozer and Boozer's a better 4 than Jaren Jackson Jr., bye, Jaren. You have a different reality now. It's just not the fit conversation that I think a lot of people want to have. I get why it's convenient and I get why it's easy, but that's not what the draft is. That's not what this draft specifically is.
I remember when Dennis Lindsey drafted Dante Exum because he thought Dante was good. Mm-hmm. And everybody was like, hey, how's he going to play alongside Trey Burke? And Dennis was like, I don't know. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, right. Trey Burke doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
We took this best player, and we're going to put him on the roster, and we're going to be psyched about it.
Correct.
And then it didn't work out, but, I mean, I remember that. I remember Dennis down at the old practice facility and coming out and talking about it. And he's like, I'm not going to let that determine what we're going to do. They're going to make it work together.
But, yes, that conversation will not change anything the Jazz do at 1. Or at 2, I should say.
No. All right, what's next?
Number 2, sticking with the combine, AJ Dybantsa jumping out of the gym, 42-inch vert, led all players.
Yeah, he's got the top vert at the draft. That's not terribly surprising. That is what BYU listed it at before the season started, but they would not be the first team to lie about the athletic numbers of their players. But AJ backed it up. 33.5-inch no-step vert, which is good. Max vert of 42 inches with his near 6'9" measurement last year, or I should say yesterday. Really, just he's the top athlete in the draft, in addition to being, the top scorer. It's really a impressive combination.
Well, and has a bunch of skill.
Yeah.
He should be in consideration, go number 1. Absolutely.
Yeah. I don't think any other player has had a crazy combine. There are guys like Kingston Flemings who might jump up to 5 now, who's in that conversation of guards who had a very good combine and shot well and is super athletic, but he measured out as being pretty shorter than people thought. AJ isn't worried about that at all. Nothing he's done to disqualify him. He's had a better combine than Darryn Peterson. He's had a better combine than Cam Boozer. So if he was 1 going into the draft, or at least kind of the presumptive number 1 going into the combine, and then he has a great combine, it's only good for AJ.
And remember, the only thing that matters at the combine are the medicals and the interview. So, good times.
Yeah.
The 3-cone run or whatever it is, just might as well stop.
Guys shooting in an empty gym doesn't matter.
There's not one GM who looked at that number from AJ Dybantsa and goes, "Oh, I didn't know he could.
Didn't know he could jump.
Had no idea."
Yeah, it backs up what you think.
Yeah, well, it just doesn't matter as much. I mean, I think the combine gets attention on the numbers because the NFL gets so much attention and they call it the same thing, but the use of it really isn't that big a deal. Let alone personal workouts and all these things that matter so much more. But you do get all of their medicals, and you do get to sit down with them.
Yes.
And those are the 2 things that matter the most. I mean, I feel bad for Darryn Peterson. He's going to sit down with, 4, 5, 6 teams, however many his agent and he decide. And he's going to have to talk about sandbagging games in every single one.
Yeah, it's going to be his big question. Throughout the combine, after he gets drafted, That's going to be the top question. How's the cramps?
Why are you sandbagging games, dude?
Yeah.
What's
you not
going
care?
on?
Yeah, you're not playing hard? Do you not want to play?
Because the heart is the not measurable. And like we talked about yesterday, if you draft a great player with no heart.
Doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah, Derek Coleman. Super talent. Didn't like basketball. Okay. Well, I don't know what to tell you.
I don't think Dwight Howard had a lot of heart.
Yeah, it may not have.
And it doesn't mean that the player's going to be a failure, but it does mean that they're not going to reach their potential.
Yeah, for sure. And, Darryn Peterson does say all the right things. He says, I'm an assassin, I'm a silent killer, I do all this stuff. Well, show it. Silent assassin doesn't mean anything if you're just silent everywhere. So those are some of the big questions.
What's next?
Number 3, Spurs, T-Wolves, Game 5 tonight.
We're going to skip over last night's games?
I don't know. We can talk about it later. That's what I put in there, bro.
Lakers swept.
Okay. Yeah, T-Wolves Spurs tied up at 2. I can't believe Wemby's going to play. I hope somebody from the T-Wolves elbows him into tomorrow.
Well, the rule obviously is going to be for the Spurs, for the Timberwolves, try and frustrate him. He can be frustrated. Now he's got to be very careful. He's going to be under the microscope, and he's probably going to try to adjust. So he's got to find a balance of the right aggression without going over the line, and he went over the line last time. So that should be the key if you're the Timberwolves. Come out, push him around. Try and get him to commit another foul. He's not going to get ejected again, I don't think, but clearly he does not like what's happening. So keep going at him, because you can take him out of a game.
I hope that the gloves don't come off and it doesn't turn into somebody going and trying to injure somebody else as much as I'm joking about it, because that's a realistic thing. Like, it really could happen, and you never want to see anybody get hurt. But I think the T-Wolves have a chance to steal one. They've already proven that they can overcome the insurmountable home court advantage in the playoffs and win in San Antonio, as long as Anthony Edwards is right and they figure out a good way to either get into Wemby's head or slow him down like they did in Game 1, throw different looks at him. I mean, I think Finch is a good coach.
He's a very good coach, and Jaden McDaniels, come swing down on Wemby's arms. You're not trying to injure him, but you are trying to anger him. I've got no problem with that at all. You should do that every game. You're trying to win a championship right now, and you're pretty close. So, yeah, you've got to get through this series. And if the best way you can get off of a series is throwing another guy mentally out of the game, please do. That should be what the entire game plan is, because you're not going to beat Wemby physically. He's 7'5" and does everything on the court very well. So, yeah, you've got to anger him. You've got to challenge him. And then personally, as a fan of basketball, I like seeing the adversity, and I would love to see Minnesota win tonight and put Wemby with his back to the wall for the final 2 games, having to win in Minnesota and then back at home in a Game 7 to advance to the conference finals. I think it's a great storyline.
All right, stay tuned. We'll have more coming up next. It's Jake and Ben, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
The PGA Championship Update is presented by Copper Rock, where the pros play, on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Jacob Ben, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. It is PGA Championship Week. And our next guest is brought to you by Mountain America Credit Union, Mountain Land Supply, Black Desert Resort, and Hoops Vision. He is, and You Went to Golf. He is the co-host of Real Golf Radio every single Saturday morning right here on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. He's our buddy Bob Casper. What's going on, Bob?
Hey, Bob.
Hey guys, how you doing? I liked how you kind of slipped in Real Golf Radio.
Well, I was told that's how it was pronounced. Yeah, it was years ago. Years ago, I was told that's how you're supposed to say it, Bob.
Oh, okay.
Not to tell you the name of your own show. Sorry.
Yeah.
Okay, is Rory the headliner from here on out until somebody proves they can beat him?
Well, as far as majors are concerned, he came off the Masters winning the last one, but he's got something that's going on that we just found out a little while ago. He's got a blister under one of his toenails on his right foot. And in fact, this morning, he took that toenail off to get to that blister. And he's having a hard time with his shoe and that kind of thing. Was only able to play 4 holes in the practice round today. So it'll be interesting to see. I'm sure all will be fine. And he'll get it padded correctly, and it will all be good. But, it's something lingering in the back of your mind. But Rory is definitely, this golf course sets up for him.
I think everybody just got the chills when you talked about ripping off
horrible.
that toenail. That's rough. All right, tell us about this golf course, Bob. How does it play? And how do you pronounce it? Aeronomic. All right, and it's in Pennsylvania, close to Philly. Tell us about this course.
Yes. So the golf course is a club that's been around since the late 1800s, like 1896, something like that. It just went through a revision with Gil Hance not long ago, and it's a beautiful golf course. It's going to play about 70. Let me look at the sheet here real quick. 7,400 yards, and but it's a par 70, which means there's only 2 par 5s on the golf course. It is a golf course that has 180 bunkers on it. And a lot of them are in the driving area, so players have the option to decide whether they're going to hit a shorter club off the tee to evade those, or whether they're just going to do what Rory says, just launch it on every driving hole and hit it over the bunkers. And but it's primarily a second shot golf course, and the greens are the defense of the golf course. They're big, they have a lot of undulation in them, and there's a lot of places for the PGA of America to stick those flags to kind of hide them away from.
We lost Bob. We'll find Bob. This isn't an old course, Ben. It's only ever hosted one other major in 1962, the PGA Championship. Your winner, Gary Player.
Okay.
Only 2 under though.
Tough course.
Well, only 2 par 5s. That's interesting. A par 70.
Yeah. Should be some decent scores, you think? Well, the 5s, I guess, is where you want to score.
Yeah,
so,
that's where players make their
-2.
birdies.
Yeah. All right. Well, yeah, maybe it'll be a tough. Maybe it'll be a tough course. You like the PGA Championship historically?
It's all right. Yeah, it's fine. I don't dislike it like the Masters or the U.S. Open. Bob, you were telling us about the course.
Yeah, it's just going to be a long golf course. Second shot primarily, as far as the golf course is concerned, is where guys are going to be able to take advantage of it a little bit. But the greens are huge. They're big, and they have a lot of slope, a lot of undulation in them, and the PGA of America can hide those flags a little bit, and you don't want to short side yourself or get yourself on the high side of the hole.
Do we have any sense of what the weather is looking like this weekend?
Well, they're supposed to have about a 45% chance of rain tomorrow or some type of moisture, about an 80% chance on Thursday, and then the rest of the week is supposed to be in the 70s and 80s. So they want the golf course to play fast. They want it to play firm. And with that little bit of moisture, it's going to soften it up for a couple of days, but the weekend is really going to make the golf course play tough.
Any pairings you've got your eye on? I mean, Scheffler, Fitzpatrick, and Rose looks pretty good.
That's a great pairing, especially since Matthew Fitzpatrick. All 3 of those guys have won. Scotty and Rose, and then Matthew Fitzpatrick won with his brother, and then 2 other events. So that's a great pairing and a really good one to watch. You know, any of the pairings that have the marquee players in them, Rory, Cameron Young is another great pairing. He's won a couple of times this year. And so those are the ones that you want to watch, because I think Rory, Cameron Young, and Scotty and Matthew Fitzpatrick are the cream of the crop this week.
Now give me Gary Woodland, Bob. He and Jason
Now
Day.
that's another great story, because he won earlier this year as well.
Yeah, see? Well, hey, listen, Bob, it should be very exciting. We're going to be catching up with you and Brian throughout the week. We love your coverage of the majors. We love your show every week, but particularly these weeks. So keep up the good work. Thank you very much, and we appreciate it.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
There you go. That's Bob Casper. He and Brian Taylor host Real Golf Radio every Saturday morning. You got any golfer you like these days, Ben?
I don't mind Rory. I like him when he has all 10 toenails. But
not picking per se, but you're rooting for. Like everybody picks their NASCAR driver. Do you have somebody you like?
Lazily, Tony.
He's not playing.
He's not playing here. He's playing the Masters. So No, he's kind of my draw. And I will tell you, admittedly, as a casual when it comes to golf, I liked when Tiger was playing. Tiger stopped playing. My interest waned. I got into Rory a little bit. I kind of root for Rory. Thought it was cool. He won the Masters. I'll be watching him a little bit this weekend. Tony's the guy. I don't know if I'm rooting for him, but would love to see him break through in one of the majors, and now he's not even qualifying. So.
I don't know why Scheffler kind of bugs me, but he does. I kind of like this Cameron Young. You heard Bob talking about him. He's really storming onto the scene. I don't know if you. I take it you haven't watched the full swing on. It's entertaining, and you can either like or not like players based on that show. But like Matt Fitzpatrick comes off really good on it.
This is the most Jake take I have, which is I dislike more golfers than I like.
Oh, good. All right.
Yeah,
Give us an example.
I root against Bryson DeChambeau.
No, yeah, I'll root against that guy.
Oh, man, who's the guy a few years ago? He actually just was hanging out at the Jazz practice facility earlier this year. Bubba Watson.
Oh, did you yell at him?
It's like, no, I didn't see him. But those are guys I generally am not rooting for.
Would you have yelled at him?
I don't think so.
You suck, Bubba!
Bubba! Water! No.
All right. I just figuring it out. You would like the full swing, even if you're not dialed in golfer.
Yeah, for sure.
It's actually pretty good. And they had a behind the scenes of all the. I haven't watched the most recent season, but all the live drama and stuff. That was pretty compelling because they had behind the scenes look of all of that stuff. So shout out to Bob. Thanks to him for jumping on. Again, he and Brian will be on all the shows all week long as part of our PGA Championship coverage. And speaking of that. Let's give away a golfer. Caller number 12 right now, 801-575-ZONE. We're going to assign you a golfer in the PGA Championship this week. We'll assign one of the top 25, and then one listener will get the rest of the field. The winner will receive a Copper Rock logo golf bag plus a $100 gas gift card. It's brought to you by Copper Rock, where the pros play. 801-575-ZONE. Man, I can't believe they sent Seth Greenberg out to the combine. Now he's got to be on the TV. Can we change it just so I don't have to look at Seth Greenberg?
You really hate him.
He's the worst.
He really bothers you.
Not only was he a terrible coach who passed on Steph Curry, but he's a terrible analyst. And if he actually was a good coach, wouldn't someone else have hired him?
Sure.
At some point.
Yeah.
You know how I know Dick Vitale sucked at coaching? Because nobody would hire him.
Yeah.
So did Lee Corso. Hey, now... Great broadcaster.
Sure. Yeah.
Lee way better than Dick Vitale. But ask me how I know they sucked at coaching. Because they broadcasted for 40 years or 50 years or
Never
whatever.
Never got their foot back in the door.
Never got another job.
Bad sign.
Like even John Gruden got another gig.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, I mean, Michael Malone was a broadcaster for a year. Yeah, a lot of guys are only dabbling in it.
Like Bill Cowher legit retired, right?
Uh-huh.
Lee Corso had like 5 bad years in Indiana and then went on TV. All right. Stay tuned. We'll have more Jake and Ben coming up next. 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Your home for the best sports radio for your afternoon drive is right here. This is Jake Scott and Ben Anderson on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Jake and Ben, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. We're teaming up with Beehive Meals. We're honoring people that impact youth sports in our communities. Nominate the youth sports volunteer for the Beehive Meals Hero of the Week at KSLSports.com/contest and listen every Thursday afternoon to Jake and Ben for the winner. It's the Beehive Meals Hero of the Week. Ben, if you ever want to be like shocked about history or something historical, go back and read all the meds that John F. Kennedy was on when he was president.
Yeah.
Have you ever done that?
I have not. No.
It's wild.
Yeah, I believe it.
He was on, I don't even want to slander the man, but he was on like 50 different things. He was on barbiturates and all this.
Well, those Kennedys were wild.
All this sort of stuff for his Addison's disease and his back and on and on. But that was the guy navigating the Cuban Missile Crisis.
Yeah, negotiating.
You look back and look at that list and you're like, whoo, I hope he knew what he was doing.
Big time.
I hope he found a good balance. A Florida judge has granted prosecutors bid to get Tiger Woods' prescription records in his drunk driving case.
I was wondering where you were going with that.
The list of this is going to be wild.
If it comes out.
Oh, it's going to be a public
it seems
record.
like it's going to come out, yeah.
It's going to be in the trial. I guess he could just plead guilty.
Or you're assuming that he was getting all of his drugs above ground?
Well, I would imagine you go back through his, in all fairness, he's been in several accidents and probably prescribed all sorts of stuff. I mean, the stuff that legitimately is prescribed. But yeah, I don't know. He maybe aren't pill mills still a thing?
Yeah.
In Florida? Have they shut all those down?
No, I doubt it.
You think they would have changed
Florida's completely
those laws?
ungoverned. That's why people love Florida. It's just a free for all. Just alligators and pill mills, whatever you want to do.
Have you seen those Netflix docs on the pill mills? It's pretty wild how lax the standards were or /are. So yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
But I would imagine when we get a look at this list, it's going to be pretty long.
Yes, I suspect it's not like I was taking too much Tylenol for my back.
By the way, Tiger, is he still in Europe? He's still in Europe, drying out?
Oh, is that what he was doing?
Yeah.
That's right. He went to... No, that was Luca who went to Morocco. Where did Tiger go?
No, Luca went to Spain.
Okay.
Madrid.
Okay.
Tiger went somewhere in Europe to dry out. But apparently, if you read Matthew Perry's autobiography, most celebrities, when they go to Europe to get treatment, are not getting any sort of treatment.
I believe it. Yeah. Just like Luca.
They're just going to Europe to not be recognized while they're continuing their habits. But I hope that's not what
Amsterdam.
What Tiger is doing. They've got a great facility over there. Fantastic.
Drying out, yeah.
Because don't you ask yourself, like, Tiger, there's tons of good spots to dry out in these good old United States.
Whatever. You could have somebody come into your house and take care of you, whatever you need. Yeah. Yes, I don't believe that at all. So Luka, the Lakers season ended last night. Luka never got close to playing. Unsurprisingly, Luka never got close to playing.
Well, he said it was going to take him 6 weeks or 8. No, 8 weeks when it was supposed to take him 6, right?
Yeah. So the second he left right after the season ended to go back to Europe for whatever they said he was doing never really made a lot of sense. And I know they do the platement enrichment, and that's one way to heal, and it's one of the better places to do it. And, Kobe had done that. We've seen players do that, but you're not going to fix a hamstring. It's a hamstring strain. You're not going to fix that in 2 weeks when he suffered it. So we didn't expect to see him back, and they didn't, and rightfully so. They got swept, though they put up a pretty good effort last night.
They lose to the Thunder 115-110, but it was the only game, not that you and I are gamblers, but it's the only game in the series that they actually covered. I do find it hilarious that everybody's like, is this the last game for LeBron? No, we would know. It might be the last game for the Lakers.
Yeah.
But not the last game for LeBron. But I'm guessing, Ben, that you're predicting, although you didn't before the season started, Oklahoma City is going to win the championship.
Yep.
How many games do you think they lose?
They will lose one in the next series, whether it's San Antonio or Minnesota. And they may lose 2. If it's San Antonio, I think they'll lose a couple. If it's Minnesota, I think they'll only lose 1.
And they'll sweep in the finals?
No, they're not going to sweep the finals. I don't think either. I think the Knicks will get a game.
I think they could easily sweep in the finals. I know Ben's a Knicks fan. He's just assuming the Knicks are going to get there, which is a far from a done deal.
Sure.
They are playing well, I suppose, but my Cavs are still alive after evening the series with the Pistons. But I think they could sweep whoever comes out of the East pretty easily.
Statistically, not that it matters because you're playing one in the Eastern Conference and one in the West. The Knicks, the Thunder, and the Spurs have been the best teams so far in the playoffs, and I think that matches the eye test as well. Oklahoma City has a net rating of 17. That's their offensive rating minus their defensive rating.
What is the rating on this? Because I don't think the Spurs have been that great this playoff. They bumped and skidded with the Blazers and are tied up with the Timberwolves.
They had some rough first halves against the Blazers, but blew them out in every second half, and they did lose a game 2 randomly. Spurs have the third best net rating at 11.9. Thunder, the second best at 17.0, and the Knicks, the best at 20.0. So, on average, how much you're outscoring your opponents per 100 possessions is all that's measuring. And the Knicks have been the best there. But again, the Knicks are playing some lousy teams.
And they got a lousy team in the second round that they really shouldn't have gotten.
And net rating over a 10-game stretch is going to be very volatile, especially if you beat a team 72-22 or whatever the score was against the Atlanta Hawks in that closeout. That's going to throw up your score.
But to my, going against my point against the Thunder, they should not have played the Lakers either. I mean, the
Correct.
Lakers should not have made it to the second round. That team is just dreadful.
Right.
Just dreadful.
Yeah, and that, you know what, that is the luck that it takes to get to the finals. Every once in a while, you just have to catch the right matchup. And, we can go back and look at the Jazz making the conference finals with Darryn Williams and Carlos Boozer and be like, well, that was really the last time they made it. Well, they got to face an 8 seed in the second round.
Yeah, they didn't really make it. Right?
Yeah. I mean, buy into that what you want. Like, there's a real argument the Jazz just haven't mattered since Carl and John left. Like, I would listen to that. I know they had the best record one year in the regular season.
Yeah, define mattered.
It was the weird post-COVID year, but relevant as far as like one of the better organizations, which I think is how they're generally viewed. And I'm not arguing against it. They can win. They've been above average. They're certainly better than the lowliest teams in the league, the Sacramento Kingses and the Washington Wizards that we've talked about a lot. But, are they actually close to the top? I don't think so. Which is why I think that this roster that they're going to be turning in next season with this number 2 overall pick is probably going to be their most talented roster they've had since John and Carl were here. And there's an argument that they could get to the most talented roster, even if it doesn't have 2 Hall of Famers at the top. Just 1 through 6, 1 through 7, they're going to have a lot of really good players. So that's where I think there's some more intrigue here for the Jazz. And then you look at the team like the Knicks, which, they might have a couple of Hall of Famers. Maybe Jalen Brunson gets there, but it's not like it's 4 superstars at the top. Oklahoma City has 3 superstars on their roster, at least 2 very, very good stars right now. We haven't seen J-Dub in the playoffs, really. And the Spurs have Victor Wembanyama at the top. But there are teams that are just good all over that are making deep runs, and you just got to get some advantageous matchups.
I think you're selling D. Will and Booze a little short, just to throw a commentary in there. They were absolutely relevant in those Western conferences.
They were, yeah.
And they should have beat the Lakers at least one of those playoff series. I don't need to get into the weeds on it. They certainly got bad luck having to match up with them in the second round, however many years in a row. But I certainly think those teams were relevant. I think those teams were better than any team left in the Eastern Conference right now.
I don't know. This Knicks team's pretty complete. I mean, we're also comparing teams 20 seasons apart. So.
Sure. What do you mean complete?
They've got a great starting 5. They cover their weaknesses pretty well. Where they do have a weakness, they generally tend to have an answer right next to it. And that was an issue the Jazz didn't have in that era, which was, we're talking about Darryn Williams and Carlos Boozer, right? Which is their front court, their lack of defense in the front court was devastating. They didn't have anybody as a shot blocker. And you can say, the Knicks really don't have a great defensive player in Karl Anthony Towns. Well, they have Mitchell Robinson right behind him, who's a great rim protector. And, Jalen Brunson's a disaster of a defensive player. Well, right next to him, they have Hart and they have Bridges. It's like, well, those guys are great defensive players. Deuce McBride's a great defensive player. So they at least have counters to all of their flaws. The Jazz teams, over the last 20 years, including Darryn Williams and Carlos Boozer and Donovan Mitchell and Rudy Gobert, haven't really had counters to their flaws, which is why I think they were pretty easily exploited generally when they faced off against a better team in the postseason. And good teams find a way to get around that. And I don't know if, the Knicks haven't really faced a great team. Maybe they'll lose to the Pistons in the next round if they play them. It's possible. You got to win. Matchups are certainly meaningful, and they almost lost to the Pistons in the first round last year. So I'm not totally counting my chickens before they hatch, but I do think the Knicks have been playing like the best team in the East.
I would take peak Darryn Williams over Jalen Brunson.
Okay.
And I would take peak Carlos Boozer over Karl Anthony Towns, both of which gave you the same result on the defensive side. Mehmet Okur was certainly different than Mitchell Robinson, but he was also extraordinarily effective.
Yeah, he's an all-star. He's a good player.
So I don't know. I don't know if I'm coming along with that, but I'm not a Knicks believer. I don't know if they have. I don't think Jalen Brunson can win it himself, and I think if you're depending on Karl Anthony Towns to win you playoff games, where's the counter to that?
Well, that they're 8-2 in the playoffs so far.
I know, but who have they played? Come on.
Sure, but your job is to win playoff games, and they're beating the teams in front of them. Like, they can only beat the teams they play. Yeah, if they were in the West, would they be here right now? Probably have not already punched their tickets to the conference finals. No.
Booze and D-Will got to the second round consistently, just where the Knicks are now, in a better conference than the Knicks are currently doing it.
Yeah, they made 4 runs to the playoffs together. 3 of them they got to the second round. 1 of them they got to the finals. 1 of them they got eliminated in the first round. Like, 3 out of the 4 they got out of the first round, so it's successful. So, yeah, I mean, the Knicks are not in the same conversation as the Thunder. I'm not trying to pretend they are. I think they might be the best team in the East, but might still belongs in that conversation because I think they could lose to either the Cavs or the Pistons, whoever they face in the next round. But through the first 2 rounds in the East, I think they have been the best team.
You just were indicating that they weren't relevant in the Darren Boozer years, and I would just disagree with that. I would in the Donovan Rudy, but less fervently.
I think in regards to, are they changing the conversation in the NBA? And, there was always the Spurs and there was always the Lakers, and those teams were the top of the top. And maybe the Jazz were the third. I mean, there's a real argument the Jazz probably could have been the third best team one of those years in the league. Well, third best team has never mattered. Truthfully, it's cool. It's a fun story, and maybe you get the finals as a third best team. But
I think that there are more than just 1 or 2 relevant teams in the league, I guess is my point.
I think that's fair.
And those teams were good.
I think that's where the Knicks are today, and you're dismissing them also.
Well, I don't think they're as good as... I think the East is really bad, and I think it's created some numbers, some records, and those sorts of things that aren't necessarily real. And I'm always cautious when people get overly enthused about the Knicks because people are dying to be overly and overrate the Knicks. Mm-hmm. I mean, I've sat here while they overrated the Carmelo Anthony Knicks forever, and those teams weren't going anywhere. So maybe this is the team that ends up proving me wrong. But honestly, is there a good team in the East? We were trying to tell ourselves that Boston was a good team.
Yeah. No, I don't think this is a great Eastern Conference. No.
And they're not. And Boston was in a rebooting year, and they still were able to do what they did. So I don't know. But I'm not saying that the Knicks are some complete team. I don't think any team in the East is complete. But maybe I'm underselling it.
Counter to their net rating, I do not think the Knicks are better than the Thunder or the Spurs. And they're not. They wouldn't. I don't think they would win those series.
I don't think they're better than the T-Wolves.
Though I did see the Knicks beat the Spurs in the mid-season tournament for the mid-season tournament championship. That does not matter. Yeah, Minnesota's a different story. We'll see. I don't know if they'd beat the Knicks. Who would match up in that series?
I think they'd beat the Lakers.
Sure. Would they beat the Cavs?
The Knicks?
Uh-huh.
God, the Cavs are flawed too. I just hate that James Harden trade. So I don't know. Maybe we'll get a chance to see it. I'm cheering like heck for the Pistons, and they're far from a complete team.
Yeah, I mean, Donovan Mitchell had a truly horrendous first half. He had 4 points in the first half, and then honestly maybe had the best quarter I've ever seen a player play in my life.
What did he finish with, 43?
Yeah, he had 31 points or something in the
in the
third quarter. It was just he was awesome. He just couldn't miss, and he was getting wide open, and they knew it was everything that they were trying to stop. And the Pistons couldn't figure out how to do it. And the Pistons are good, but their offense is really flawed, and they couldn't, as much as they do have the ability at times to just shut you down defensively, they didn't do it in this game, and then they couldn't counter. They couldn't fight fire with fire, and that's why they're as flawed as they are. And again, despite the fact that they looked good in the first round and looked good through the first 2 games in this series, they still really need to add another offensive piece.
Yeah, Donovan had 43, and they still only scored 112 points.
Mm-hmm. It's not a great Cavs team.
No. But I think they could beat the Knicks.
Yeah, it would take some monumental efforts from some players. Knicks just have so many bodies. That's what I like about the Knicks. And no, it's not the top end talent. Jalen Brunson's good. He's a great offensive player. He's pretty flawed, but he can really put it on. He's pretty consistent and he's pretty efficient, and those things do help. But yeah, the defense and what he gives up on that end is a major problem. But it's a little bit the war of attrition. I mean, they just continue to put good players on the floor, and you look at even what Jordan Clarkson has done in this series and really throughout the playoffs. Like, scoring numbers don't wow you at all, but he seems to be getting a big offensive rebound once a quarter. You're just like, wow, he's keeping this whole play alive, and he's kind of a gamer in that sense. And I think sometimes we think of gamers, speaking of Jordan Clarkson, and think like, oh, well, that means he's a scorer, or we kind of view like the guy playing in street ball who can get anywhere he wants on the floor and hit some crazy jumper. Gamers find ways to win, and Jordan Clarkson, I think, has actually been more of that player throughout his career than people have given him credit for, to the point where one time Will Hardy was like, you're our starting point guard. He's like, okay, I'll average 25 and 5. He's a gamer. He knows how to find a spot to help a team. Now, that doesn't mean he's the best player on the floor, and he can certainly be flawed, but I think, if he's your 8th guy and he just wants to win, he knows how to do that.
All right, but I don't think your 8th guy is going to help you win or lose a playoff series.
Well, if they do, he's not the right 8th guy.
Meaning?
Well, AJ Mitchell right now for the Thunder, honestly, going into the series, you might have thought was like the 7th or 8th guy on the Thunder. He's been the second best player. He rules, So you've got Shea, and you've got Chet Holmgren, and you've got Isaiah Hartenstein, and you've got Lou Dort, and you've got Alex Caruso, and you've got You haven't even mentioned Jalen Williams, who hasn't played in this year. They've got all these guys. And then you get to a player like AJ Mitchell. Well, if he's your 7th guy, you're insane because AJ Mitchell's awesome.
Sure.
So that's the right 7th guy who can actually help you win a series. No, Jordan Clarkson's not going to help you at that level.
Not anymore.
Yeah.
Or else somebody would have traded for him
Mm-hmm.
when the Jazz had him.
Correct.
What was that deal? What did they do? They bought him out, right?
Yeah, they just bought out his last $10 million of his contract.
And he just went and signed with the Knicks. Well, I don't know. It'll be interesting. I like I said, I like Jordan, even though I didn't necessarily enjoy his game per se. So I hope he has success. Just I wish it was on a different team.
Yeah, and he's done it. He's had a lot of success. This has been a really good year for the Knicks. They're in the conference finals. That's a good year. Now they want to get past, and James Dolan said he believed his team was going to get to the championship. He kind of said it was finals or bust this year. I don't know if he said championship or bust, but he kind of said this should be a finals team, and they are at least the closest with the Thunder among any team to get there.
Yeah, what does Jim Dolan know?
Yeah, I don't think a lot. Not about basketball, but he has built a good team, or he's allowed Leon Rose to build a pretty good team.
Hiring Leon Rose was maybe the only smart move he's made ever. And I still don't know if he's assembled the perfect team either, but maybe they'll prove me wrong.
I mean, they're not going to win the title, so they're always going to have that. I think that's always going to bounce back against them. Minus getting to the finals and running into an injured Thunder team if something happens to Shea. And even then, I don't know.
Even then.
Yeah, I don't know if I don't know if the Knicks are better than the Thunder without Shea, which is a real credit to how good the Thunder are.
It is. They are good. They are. They're going to have to break it up to a certain extent. Yeah. I mean, after we did the exercise of looking into their books yesterday.
$250 million on the books.
Already.
There you have to say goodbye to Hartenstein and Dort and
all these players they love. Yeah. Again, the Jazz should look into signing Lou Dort immediately. Sign that guy.
Yeah.
And Kelly Olynyk. And then all of a sudden you have the edge that your team
Then
needs.
You have the toughest team. Or the meanest team. Maybe not the toughest, but the meanest.
Certainly the dirtiest.
Yeah. Which isn't a bad thing.
No, that's how you get your edge.
Yep.
That's how you don't get your players' heads knocked off. By the way, elite move. Did you? I may be changing my tune. I'm changing my tune on a lot of stuff today. Ace Bailey, changing my tune.
Yeah.
Dillon Brooks, totally changing my tune.
Okay, what about?
Did you see him at the Lakers game yesterday? Trolling the Lakers?
He's iced out, yep.
Waving at him goodbye?
Courtside.
Right
underneath the basket.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
That's like Dennis Rodman level mind games right there.
He's funny, and he's also a Canadian and a friend of fellow Canadian Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, so I'm sure that was part of it.
I think he was there to wave goodbye to LeBron.
I think it was both. Yeah, I think he was there to troll the Lakers and also to
because his mouth did cost them a playoff series against the Lakers.
What did his mouth cost him last night? His grill must have cost $250,000 at least. It's all diamonds.
You should get one of those.
Think? I think it'd be hard to top.
Don't get the all diamonds though. Go zirconia.
Okay.
Because I mean, you're not hurting for dough, but that, like you said, that had to cost.
You can't get a diamond grill.
Yeah, right. But zirconia, I bet you can pull it off.
Or you could just swallow a bunch of diamonds like our guy yesterday.
Or maybe we call our guy Joe, and you get the what do they call those? The lab diamonds. Meet in the middle.
Yeah.
What would you have it say something? Can't just go Ben.
No, you don't put your name on it.
It would fit.
Yeah. Jake and Ben.
Advertise
the show on a big grill.
Okay.
They have to get top and bottom.
All right. Stay tuned. More next. 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Catch the NBA playoffs on Sling TV, the most flexible live TV streaming service, putting consumers in control to watch games their way with flexible subscriptions. Want to catch one game or a full series on ESPN? Grab a 1, 3, or 7-day pass. If you want to catch as many games as possible, get a monthly subscription with our ABC, NBC, and ESPN combo package. Either way, Sling lets you watch the playoffs your way with no long-term contracts. Learn more at sling.com.
If the world were like a Sleep Number mattress, everything would adapt for your comfort. Because as your life changes and your body changes, Sleep Number mattresses adapt and shift to give you personalized comfort night after night. And now everything's on sale during our Memorial Day event. Save up to $1,200 on mattresses for a limited time. To experience a whole new world of comfort, visit a Sleep Number store or go to sleepnumber.com. Sleep Number, to a good night's sleep.
We have the tech to get food delivered in 15 minutes, but we all have horror stories about buying tickets. The Game Time app gives fans the advantage. Get amazing tickets in just a few taps. Fees are included, so what you see is what you pay. And the Game Time Guarantee means authentic tickets at the best price every time. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets to concerts, sports, comedy, and more with Game Time. Download the Game Time app and create an account for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply.
Warning, the following ZipRecruiter radio spot you are about to hear is going to be filled with F-words.
When you're hiring, we at ZipRecruiter know you can feel frustrated, forlorn even, like your efforts are futile, and you can spend a fortune trying to find fabulous people, only to get flooded with candidates who are just fine. Fortunately, ZipRecruiter figured out how to fix all that. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/zip. With ZipRecruiter, you can forget your frustrations because we find the right people for your roles fast, which is our absolute favorite F word. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day.
Fantastic.
So, whether you need to hire 4, 40, or 400 people, get ready to meet first-rate talent. Just go to ZipRecruiter.com/zip to try ZipRecruiter for free. Don't forget, that's ZipRecruiter.com/zip. Finally, that's ZipRecruiter.com/zip.
Make game day yours. Tickets, food and drinks, stats, and streaming. Everything you need is in the Utah Mammoth app. Download today and make game night easy. Download on both Android and iPhone. Just top.
This is Jake Scott and Ben Anderson. Now, every day from 2 to 6 on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Jake and Ben, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Want to remind you about Win Ticket Wednesday, your chance to win big every week on the station. This week, you can win tickets to go see Real Salt Lake take on the Colorado Rapids at America First Field. Coming up this Saturday. Great seats are available at SeatGeek. Get your tickets today or listen all day on Wednesday for your chance to win. What do they call that? The Rocky Mountain Cup? Is that right?
I think so.
Yeah. Go see a rivalry, Ben.
Yeah, for sure.
Check it out. I wouldn't mind getting over to see it. Now that the weather is turning nice a little bit.
My kids have never been. I need to take them.
Really?
Yeah, they've never been to a game. So.
Now, I am admittedly not necessarily into soccer guy. I don't consider myself a hater.
Yeah.
But I will tell you, similar to baseball, on a summer night, out at that, which I really like that Stadium America First Field. I think they did a pretty terrific job on it. The pacing of soccer lends itself to a good social aspect of it. I don't know. I really enjoy it.
Yeah, I agree. I think my kids would too.
So check it out. There you go. You can listen on Wednesday for your chance to win. How dialed in are you on this combine coverage, Ben? Do the 42 inches from AJ do anything for you today?
Yeah, it does. I mean, it's the highest. Again, it just kind of underlines that where there are questions among the top 3 prospects, and you can bring in Caleb Wilson to the top 4 if you want. They're all super skilled offensive players. They're highly, highly touted offensive players. All of them averaged over 20 points per game as freshmen. Really rare. That's a great number for true freshmen. They did it in different ways. AJ is physically maybe the most gifted as far as attacking from the wing in. Darryn Peterson's the best shooter. And obviously Cam Boozer's the most physically dominant in the post and around the rim, but also shoots 38% from 3. But they're not alike in any way. They're all 3 do it in different manners. And, Boozer's the best playmaker of the 3, and probably AJ's second, and then Darryn Peterson would be third. So how do they all fit? The fact that AJ has the best size of all of them, Darryn Peterson's 6'4.5", so he'll be about 6'6" in shoes. We talked about that yesterday. AJ's actually a half inch or a quarter inch taller than Cam Boozer, which is great. And then he has I think his max vert now is 7 inches higher than Cam Boozer's. It's 4 inches taller or higher than Darryn Peterson's. So not only does he have the best positional size, he's also the best athlete of the group. He also averaged the most points of the group. And sometimes I think as you really try and diagnose these guys and dig deep and look at all the numbers, sometimes also just step back and realize AJ is just a pretty safe prospect. He did it at a very high level in college. Maybe they didn't win enough. Maybe he didn't play enough defense. His shooting numbers weren't perfect at just 33% from 3. but the profile lends itself to somebody who's really going to be fine. There's just not real question marks there. And there's questions about how Cam Boozer's going to stack up, athletically. We're going to talk to Ricky O'Donnell coming up at 4 o'clock. He's a big Cam Boozer fan. We'll see what he thinks about that gap. And I just don't think it's significant enough that everyone's going to bring it up. Why does Cam Boozer's game translate if he's not a big-time athlete? You just don't ask that at all with AJ Dybantsa. And that's a huge plus. And then the numbers today just underlined it. But no, nobody is surprised at what they saw today.
Do you think do you think either of these teams, the Wizards or the Jazz, are even considering Cam Boozer?
Yeah, they should be. I hope they both are.
Why is that?
Cam honestly may have just had the greatest freshman season we've ever seen any player ever have. And that's not hyperbole. He was the best. He's the best offensive player in college basketball as a freshman. In a generation right now, in an era where older players in college basketball are back. That's a thing. These guys are playing 3 and 4 years and getting paid a lot of money. This isn't just all the one-and-done players are the best players because nobody sticks in college. Everyone leaves. There's guys sticking in college now. So he was by far the best player in college. I think there's a real argument he was the best passer in college. He's also the best rebounder in college. And then he averages 22 points a game. He's by far the most efficient of all these players. So
I get back to, though, yesterday, a point we made yesterday. Why would they take a flawed player at number 1?
Well, all these guys are flawed is the problem.
Yeah, but significantly flawed.
I don't know if he's that significantly flawed.
He's not going to guard in the NBA level. That's not going to be a thing. He doesn't have the lateral quickness like the old man.
Correct. He lacks some of that. Yeah.
So he's not. He's going to be picked on in the pick and roll his whole career.
But AJ didn't guard at all. AJ was a really lousy defender this year at BYU.
But what's his wingspan?
Yeah, it's good.
And what's his athletic ability? If he wants to, the point is, if he wants to guard, he can guard. That's a different problem.
But also, what teams look at now, a big number right now is steal percentage. Now amount of possessions ended with steals that you get because steals are live ball turnovers, and the NBA right now is just a possessions game. So if we want to get really dorky about this, here's where Boozer matters. You play 100 possessions. Boozer makes the right play 95 of them.
Mm-hmm.
Darryn Peterson makes the right play 80 of them. AJ makes the right play 60 of them. Well, over time, making the right play 95 of them really adds up, and maybe it's only 1/10 of a percentage point, and it doesn't matter that much, but over 90 possessions, it really starts to matter. 100 possessions, it really starts to matter. And then your steal percentage, which AJ's numbers are shockingly bad. He doesn't get steals, he doesn't get blocks, despite the fact that we look at a 42-inch vertical and a 8'10" standing reach. It's why did you block so few shots? What, do you care? Do you not want to be a part of it? And I think the answer is no, BYU didn't care. And that's not a flaw. They just said, AJ, you do not get to foul out of games at all. You have to carry a huge load offensively. So I don't actually worry about it that much, but I know NBA teams worry about it. And I'm just trying to speak from why teams will seriously consider Cam Boozer as the number 1 overall pick, because he is the best offensive player of this group right now. Now, top potential, is he? I don't know, but Alperen Sengun's a great player, and I think Cam Boozer's a way better player than Alperen Sengun is, a way better player. I think he's a better player than Sabonis. Well, Sabonis is an all-star and an all-NBA player. If I had to bet of these 3 players who's going to be an all-NBA guy, I would say Cam Boozer, no doubt about it. Cam Boozer's going to get there. Some of that's because the front court is wide open to get to the all-NBA, which is why Julius Randle has made a bunch in his career. It's why Karl Anthony Towns has made a lot. You can get there easier in the front court than I think you can in the back court. Some of it's because there's so few 6'8", 6'9", 6'10" people in the world, and there are a ton of 6'3" people. So that's just kind of the math problem of it that does favor big guys reaching some of these awards at the end of the season. But, man, if I needed somebody who's just going to check a bunch of boxes, I know Cam Boozer is going to be a great player in the NBA. The people doubt whether his 1-of-1 outcome, his top overall outcome, is as good as either AJ or Darryn. But he's a way better player today than either of those players. Way better.
I know I'm going back 5 minutes, but steal percentage is something people value? Why? Steals are so overrated.
No, I think they're really underrated. I think it's the opposite. I think blocks are really overrated. But because it's a live ball turnover.
Fine. John Stockton is the all-time leader in steals. He was not a dominant defensive player. Chris Paul has been good at steals his entire career, and he sucks at defense.
No, he was a great defensive player.
He's gotten all...
no, he's a very good defensive player.
Because people overrate steals, he's made some all-defensive teams because they overrate steals. People assume because players get steals that they're good defenders. That is not the case. And Chris Paul, if you want to say he's a plucky guy and a plucky defender, then fine. But he's also 2 feet tall and has never been able to switch. So I don't like steals as a gauge at all. And it doesn't surprise me that analytics people do, because analytics people like all sorts of bizarre stuff. But as far as defense goes, I think steals are distracting. You need a player who's going to be able to stay in front of his guy and not get beat and not require double teams. And that has nothing to do with steals, and that's exactly what I'm talking about. Can you put AJ Dybantsa, if he has the will, out on Shea? No, Shea's a bad example because I'm not exactly trying to pick the best player in the league necessarily. Sure. But can you send AJ Dybantsa out on a starting NBA wing and have him be able to hold his own and not require a double team? That is what I'm talking about. And then you can go from there to versatility. Can you switch your players onto other positions? Can AJ switch onto other positions? I would guess the answer is yes.
Yeah.
But to your point, we didn't see it at BYU.
Yeah.
So we don't have a proof of concept. We don't have a proof of concept really with any of these guys defensively. But if I had to make a bet on who's going to be a good defensive player, am I taking a guy with a high steal percentage or a guy with the athleticism to stay in front of their guy? I'm taking the athleticism 10 out of 10 times.
I think that's 100% fair.
And does Darryn Peterson have it? I don't know. He's a little smaller than AJ. So his impact defensively, I think, is a little bit more up in the air. But do I want the slow guy? Speaking of Şengün, slow guy can't guard.
Yeah, he can't.
It's going to make him limited. And I love Şengün, but it's going to make him limited for his entire career. He will never be the best player on a championship contender. Kevin Durant and his stupid burner was absolutely right about that, 100%. So I come back to the question, and hey, what do I know? I'm some bozo. Whoever the Jazz want to consider, they're way smarter than me. I would not consider Cam Boozer for that reason. He cannot move laterally. Luka Doncic. Well, look at your guy AR. Picked on that entire series because he cannot move laterally.
Right.
Carlos Boozer. If we want to go back, we were comparing eras. If you want to go back to the Darren Williams, Carlos Boozer era and why that team failed, yes, size was part of it, but his lateral quickness was even bigger.
Yeah.
Because he got crushed in the pick and roll against those Laker teams all the time. Memo did too. And so, I don't know. If I'm looking at Cam Boozer and people say, is athleticism a question? That's a big question to me, and especially when you're picking number one. Don't take the non-athletic guy if you're picking number one.
Which is why I don't think he's going to go number one. I don't.
Or number two even. I mean, if you're considering between these three players. He would be a distant third, in my opinion.
I mean, of these three, Boozer, I believe, has the best, and again, this is getting dorky, but defensive box plus minus. So you add up all the analytics, Boozer has been the best defensive player. Now, sometimes those really overrate rebounding, or they highly value rebounding because you're ending a possession by grabbing the rebound.
Well, and who else is on his team?
And again, he's an elite defensive rebounder. I mean, he's an elite rebounder. He's going to be a guy who's going to come in. And look, Boozer in his prime is going to average 22 points, 11 rebounds, and 5 assists. And a lot of teams are just going to say, like, I will take that. Because there's a world where AJ Dybantsa busts. Like, absolutely. There's a huge world where Darryn Peterson busts. It's like not crazy. There have been a lot of two guards that people have said, I think it's Kobe. I think it's Michael.
I know. I hate that.
And you get
crap.
wowed in that. And you say, wow, I think that's who it's going to be. So we're taking Jalen Green with the number 2 overall pick. He's a can't-miss prospect.
Yeah.
Is Jalen Green a can't-miss prospect? He's on his second team already. He's not that good.
But
so
if Shea were in the draft this year, you're taking him.
Yeah.
With the 1 or 2 pick or whatever.
Well,
and he would have been a 2 guard. And he wasn't taking number 2. The draft is flawed.
No,
but
he's
you get
taking 12, yeah.
But you get my point. I mean, if he's a 2 guard, if you think he's going to be an MVP, then you take him, whether he's 6'5 or 6'4 or 2 or whatever.
But, and if we want to, again, rewind 5 minutes, the reason why steals right now are really highly sought after is because that's the defense the Thunder have built. They force a ton of turnovers. Well, how do you force turnovers? That's a steal. They're trying to win the possession battle every night. They do it with rebounding, which is why they went out and got Hartenstein. But then they also get a ton of steals. That's Caruso. That's Shea. That's Lou Dort. I mean, that's what those players specialize in.
But that didn't put them over the hump.
I mean, their defense probably did.
Hartenstein put them over the hump.
Yes, when they added Hartenstein.
And that defensive component, that's what put them over the hump. It's not the steals. It's how they're built.
Right. And what is Hartenstein? Great rebounder. Boozer's the best rebounder in the draft. Like, here's what people need to realize. Cam Boozer is the best passer and rebounder in this draft, and he's probably the 4th best scorer. So it's like, that's a lot. That's a really, really rare combination. And I get he doesn't move his feet very well. Like, But the best passer, rebounder, and the third or fourth best scorer is an absolute insane player. Like, I think there's a relatively safe bet that he's the second best player from this class. He's going to be better than one of AJ or Darryn. Who's he going to be better than? That's what I think some teams are honestly going to be weighing.
Why is he automatically going to be better than one of those
Well, I don't
guys?
think he's automatically, but I think he's a much safer bet to be better than one of those. You're betting on the upside of both AJ and Darryn because neither of them is there right now. And Cam is way closer to being there already. Like, Cam is going to be the overwhelming favorite to be Rookie of the Year because he is so much better than they are today. He's just way better than they are today. He's 250 pounds. He's 6'8". His skills are through the roof. He's a great ball handler. He does all the rebounding and passing like I've just talked about. His b-ball IQ is higher than the other two players right now. It's just he's really close to being a contributor, I think, day one, so he's going to be the favorite to win Rookie of the Year. The same advantage that Cooper Flagg had last season. Can somebody with the higher potential reach the higher potential? Most guys don't reach their potential. When they do, it's awesome. You do get the Kobe Bryants of the world who went from a very raw high school prospect to one of the 15 greatest players of all time. When they get there, it's really awesome. But a lot of guys bet on potential and they never get there.
I think we're looking at a little more than potential with, like, Taylor Hendricks was all potential.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's what you make that pick. At 1 or 2, you hopefully have a little more than just potential. I think AJ has shown a little more than just potential. Maybe, I mean...
No, absolutely. He's got a ton of game. That's why he's being talked about.
And
he
was an All-American. I mean, I don't know how much stock we're putting in the college thing. That's the argument for Boozer, is his college numbers.
Well, in high school. He's the most decorated high school American player ever.
But he wasn't the number 1 prospect coming out of high school.
No, he was number 3. Behind AJ and Darryn Peterson, again, because of the potential of those players. And by the way, he was a way better college player, but they were betting on potential in college too, and Boozer was still better than they are.
Yeah.
At some point, when are you going to believe it? I guess that's the question.
Well, when I see it at the NBA level, I mean, Tyler Hansbrough was great in college. Mm-hmm. Jimmer was great in college. Yeah. I mean, yeah, when you see it actually out there on the floor is when, I mean, what was Morrison? 3rd pick?
Up there.
When he went to Charlotte, great college player, average NBA player, not even a starter. Yeah, average NBA player. So it's hard.
I don't think anyone's betting on Cam Boozer.
Anthony Davis was a great college player, and he turned into a great NBA player. So it's not like there isn't some correlation.
No,
but it's not the whole story.
No, it's not perfect.
And Morrison going 3rd was not everybody, but people considered like. This is a guy. You're getting a guy. You're getting a franchise dude. Did you see him at Gonzaga? He was amazing. Mm-hmm. He was not amazing.
Right.
And he also went to a bad situation, which probably didn't do him any favors, but certainly was far from a great NBA player. So I don't know. Morrison had some of the problems that Cam Boozer has, honestly, with the lateral quickness and athleticism, and it really limited him. Mm-hmm. I'm just saying, if you've got the 1 or 2 pick, why take a player that has a significant flaw that is obvious? Does Dybantsa have a significant flaw that is obvious? I'm granting you're no perfect player. We're certainly splitting hairs. But is there
does he have something he
an
can't
obvious
overcome?
Flaw that he can't do? Do you need him to rebound 10 a game? Not really. That's not his position. He hasn't shown necessarily that he's a great defensive player, but all the capability is there.
Yeah.
I could tell you why Luka isn't a good defensive player. I couldn't tell you why AJ would be a bad defensive player.
Yeah, he can get there. It's why he's going to be the number 1 pick.
Darryn Peterson, is there a significant flaw to that guy's game?
He's the shortest of the group.
Yeah, but he's not obnoxiously short.
No, it's not disqualifyingly short. His athletic numbers today were good. They're not great. He's not an elite athlete.
He's the same size. I'm not comparing to Kobe.
Yeah.
He's the same size as Kobe was.
Yeah, exactly. A little bit taller than Dwayne Wade.
Yep. Not quite as tall as Michael Jordan.
Right.
Although we never saw Michael measured without shoes.
But again, so was Jalen Green. It's the exact same body.
Jalen Green's problem is heart, though, right? To bring it back to that problem. Like, talent isn't Jalen Green's problem. Athleticism isn't Jalen Green's problem.
He's a good jumper. He's not a great first step guy. So there are some issues there. Then where Darryn Peterson's not. Like, Darryn Peterson probably has the best first step in the draft.
But what was true about Jalen Green, and I'm glad that's a good example of exactly what we're talking about. But that these guys need to do what Jalen Green did not. But all three of them, really, but less so Boozer, to your point, is that if AJ Dybantsa gets into the league and doesn't put his heart into it, yeah, he's on the fast track to average town.
Yeah.
Peterson, the same way.
Right.
But I think you've got to ignore that somewhat with the draft and try to make a determination on what kind of person. This is why the what kind of person matters so much. Mm-hmm. I'd be curious I would love to have seen Jalen Green's pre-draft interviews and what he said or what he was all about.
That's why Ace Bailey fell to 5. There was no pre-draft interviews. There was questions about his heart at Rutgers. There was questions about how hard he played and whether he cared about winning.
And if he doesn't pour it on, he's going to be on the fast track to average town too.
But he did his first year, and then everyone says like, "Oh yeah, we overthought that."
Yeah. Well, I think Ace Bailey's still got a long way to go.
He does, no question. Yeah. But no one's questioning whether or not he deserved to be the 5th overall pick.
Not at the moment.
Yeah.
But we got a long way to go.
Correct.
I mean, he really does. He's got to put a bunch of effort into it and get a lot better. And that's hard. That's what Ben Simmons was never willing to do.
But look, I think all three of these guys at the top are going to be great players. Like, this is going to be a very good draft. And all three of these guys, I think, are going to be very successful. I think what Cam does already makes him a relatively safe pick, but I don't think that means he doesn't have upside. And honestly, if I had to bet again, I think you're going to walk away with the second best player in the draft. With Cam, the question is, do you want to bet on a guy who's better than that? Because if you get a guy who's better than Cam Boozer, you do have a guy who I think has the potential to be the number one on a championship team. I mean, I think that's how good this draft can be.
Who was the Arizona guy who had one good tournament, win 2?
Derek Williams.
Who picked him? Minnesota?
Is it Philly? I don't think he went to Philly now.
I don't think so either. I can't remember either. That's how nondescript that dude was.
Yeah.
All right, stay tuned. We'll have more Jake and Ben coming up next. Don't forget, Ricky O'Donnell of SB Nation is going to join us at the top of the 4 o'clock hour.
Yeah, woof.
Killed it.
Career average 8.9 points.
How many years?
He played 7 years in the NBA. 2 years for Minnesota.
That's Jalen Green.
Yeah.
Now, Jalen actually probably will be a little better than that. But
yes, clearly.
Yeah.
But not meaningful. He's not a meaningful player.
Not at the moment.
Yeah.
And, hey, don't write him off either. Keontae George figured it out at some point, or at least appears to have.
Yeah.
So maybe somebody like that does. But that's what's going to make a difference for Peterson and Dybantsa and to a lesser extent. Boozer.
Like that?
All right, stay tuned. More next. 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
The Synchrowave 212 from Miller is making TIG welding more approachable than ever. AutoSet takes the guesswork out of getting started by automatically adjusting your weld parameters. An intuitive graphic interface means less time setting up and more time under the hood. And the optional water cooler keeps you welding longer. Whether you're a welding expert or just getting started, the Miller Synchrowave 212 lets you tackle more with TIG.
This is the new Weight Watchers, built for real life and real results, no matter what mode you're in. Maddie went all in for her big day and lost 33 pounds. Emily lost 85 pounds and hit her goal while still living her life.
Weight Watchers gave me the tools and I feel amazing.
Join the millions of members and lose weight with the #1 doctor-recommended weight loss program. Lose more at WeightWatchers.com.
At 6 months, participants in a clinical trial of Weight Watchers program lost an average of 12 pounds.
Make game day yours. Tickets, food and drinks, stats, and streaming. Everything you need is in the Utah Mammoth app. Download today and make game night easy. Download on both Android and iPhone. Tusk Top.
Just doing it big,
Your home for the best sports radio for your afternoon drive is right here. This is Jake Scott and Ben Anderson on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Jake and Ben, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Hey, coming up on Thursday, we're going to be headed up to Ogden, Ben. Beehive Meals is opening their new production facility. Tune in to Scotty and the coach and Jake and Ben. We're going to both be up there bringing you the grand opening. So we are super excited about that. Let's also give away a golfer because it's PGA Championship week. Caller number 12, 801-575-ZONE. We're going to assign you a golfer in the top 25 in the world. One listener will also get the field. If your golfer wins, you win a Copper Rock logo golf bag plus a $100 gift card brought to you by Copper Rock, where the pros play. Ben, this story may deserve more time, but let's try and crunch it in here because it's not necessarily Sports. Have you ever heard of Lonnie the seal?
No.
It's a monk seal, Ben, and has become the symbol of Maui's recovery from the Lahaina wildfire.
Okay.
So after the wildfire, apparently Lonnie came back, and everybody has been caring for the seal, and it's been a symbol of recovery and all this stuff. Well, some guy from Seattle was videotaped throwing a giant rock at this seal.
Okay.
Yeah, like, look at this. This guy just throws a giant rock at this beloved seal.
Yeah, don't do that.
So somebody videoed it and put it out there saying, does anybody know this guy? And some local dude tracked him down and really beat him up.
Oh.
A local Hawaiian tracked him down and really beat him up.
I don't know it personally, but we've all heard stories about being pay respect to the locals
in
Hawaii.
Hawaii.
Yeah.
And they're not necessarily fond of tourists
Correct.
when they're not working.
Yeah.
Because a lot of them work in tourism and be very friendly,
Yeah.
but not necessarily big fans of tourists. So there's two kind of funny things outside of this guy getting beaten up, and deservedly so. One, Ben, let's see here. The man who has taken matters into his own hands has been awarded a letter of recognition by State Senator Brenton Awa. Quote, our attorney over here wants us to make it clear that we don't condone violence, but we did make a letter of recognition for Mr. Ambassador of Aloha.
Okay.
The 37-year-old tourist is facing fines of up to $50,000 and jail time. But get this, Ben. Let me see. Let me get to this part of the story. The guy is 37-year-old Igor something or other from Seattle. After being confronted, he replied, quote, I don't care. I'm rich. Find me. I can pay for it. That was his quote.
Okay.
Now, this is the best part of the story. He has since been detained, but has yet to be charged as charged in the case, which means that I'm guessing he's just rotting in jail?
Yeah.
That he's been detained, and they're like, well, we're going to slow play these charges, so you're just going to have to sit tight.
Yeah, if your argument is going to be, I don't care about the money, it doesn't bug me, then the courts, especially if it's a local court that feels like they want to impose pain on you, will find a way to do it. Say, oh, yeah, we're going to give you 30 days in jail then. If the money doesn't matter, and you're flaunting it in our face that it doesn't matter, we'll find a way to punish you that you do feel it. And no, you don't want to go sit in a Hawaii jail for 30 days.
Yeah, the judge is on vacation. We'll bring you up for arraignment when he gets
Yeah,
back.
right. Yeah.
I love that part. He's been detained, but charges have yet to be filed. So they're just slow playing this thing, Ben. Keep him behind bars after taking his beating.
But
are you all right with this? You're not a man of violence either. But are you okay with vigilante justice in this case?
Yes, and I'm not like the most animals over people person either. I think sometimes that gets a little aggressive. But yeah, again, I do try to be very respectful when you go into somebody else's culture or whatever. And if you attack their favorite seal locally, especially one that represents something like coming back from the fires that they faced, yeah. I don't mind that you got beat up a little bit.
I don't know why this isn't playing.
I'm not going to go to bat for you.
No, I think, you know what? In this case, Ben, totally fine with the vigilante justice.
Yeah. Well, clearly so is all of Hawaii.
All of Hawaii is like, that guy had it coming.
Seems like everyone feels like this was the right decision.
Why are we throwing rocks at seals?
Yeah, what are you doing? I'm also skeptical this guy can actually afford it.
I hope not.
Yeah.
I hope he can't. I hope he didn't get any medical care. I hope he just got detained.
We don't take your insurance. I don't know what to tell you.
And is bleeding somewhere in jail.
Sorry, Igor.
Plus, you're in an island in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. You really are at their mercy.
Yeah.
Bad news.
Yep.
All right, stay tuned. We're going to talk more NBA basketball coming up next. We're going to be joined by Ricky O'Donnell. He covers the NBA for SB Nation. Stay tuned. Jake and Ben, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Your home for the best sports radio for your afternoon drive is right here. This is Jake Scott and Ben Anderson on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Jacob Ed, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Want to remind you about our friends at Sound Sleep Medical. Get a free sleep screening and consultation with Scotty G and the coach. Broadcast live from Sound Sleep tomorrow. Visit Sound Sleep Medical with 6 convenient locations across Utah and start sleeping better every day. Time to talk some NBA, draft, playoffs, everything under the sun in the association. He covers the NBA for SB Nation. He's Ricky O'Donnell with us here on Jake and Ben. Hi, Ricky. How are you?
How's it going, guys? Thanks for having me.
We're doing terrific. I guess as you watched the lottery and you saw the top 4 unfold with Chicago, Memphis, the Jazz, and the Washington Wizards landing those top 4 picks, what were your initial reactions?
My first thought was that the tankers got rewarded this time around, and that hasn't been happening a lot lately. Last year, the Mavs jumped up from 10-1. I think the Spurs jumped up from 8-2. Then the year before that, the Hawks won the lottery from the 10th position. So the NBA made a big deal about tanking. They're rushing through lottery reform, but for this last go-around under the current system, the Wizards and Jazz got it done. So I think that both those teams desperately needed a bit of lottery luck, and I think especially for the Jazz, they're going to be set up pretty well now. Like, they executed this rebuild plan at a pretty high level when you look at the combination of having established players like Jaren Jackson, Lauri Markkanen, and some rising young players like Keontae George and Ace Bailey, and now they get a chance to land a blue chip final piece to this before they start to push the plan forward. So the Jazz needed to get lucky, and they sure did.
So having your most recent mock draft in front of me, and I would encourage all our listeners to check it out, you have Dybantsa, Peterson, Boozer, 1, 2, 3. How set in stone do you think that is?
I wouldn't really say it's set in stone. That is my best guess right now. But, who knows what these teams are going to prefer. Like the Jazz, of course, have Carlos Boozer in their front office. I happen to think Cam Boozer is the best player in the draft. It seems like he's unlikely to go 1 or 2, but you never know. It just takes one team to decide that he's the guy they want to take. So that's my best guess for right now, but I'm not sure if that's how it'll play out.
Ricky, you're doing this, and this is not an accusation, but I see this a lot across the NBA draft. And in fact, I'm almost positive wherever Cam Boozer gets drafted, 2, 3, 4, the team is going to come out and say, we had him number 1 on our board. And I'm going to believe him. I think a lot of people have Cam Boozer number 1 on the board. Why do so many people value him so highly?
Yeah, he just wins. I mean, in high school, he won 4 state championships. In Florida, 3 EYBL championships on the Nike AAU tour. He won 2 gold medals at USA Basketball. So the guy is just always the best player on the team that wins the championship. I would say that is 1 point in his favor. And then, of course, this year, it took a miracle for Duke to get knocked out in the Elite Eight when Braylon Mullins hit that crazy shot to beat them. Duke lost 3 games the whole year by a combined 5 points. And I don't think their roster was that good. Really, it was Boozer being the best player in the country. He got 59 of 61 first place votes for the Wooden Award to become the 5th freshman ever to win that. And who was the second best player in was Yaxel Lendeborg in college basketball. And he's 5 years older than Boozer. So to be so good and so young and influence winning like that, that's to me what makes Boozer the best player. And I guess regular people will see his athletic limitations, but in the modern NBA, not all the great players are great athletes, like Jokic, not a good athlete. Luka, not a good athlete. Even Shea's not dunking on people's heads. He's good because he's skilled and he's huge. Steph Curry, not, known for his athletic ability really. So I think that Boozer just wins, and he wins at a high level. So that's why I like him.
Looking at the draft as a whole, of course, we've heard the hype. I mean, it feels like for multiple years now with this particular group. Are you buying into the hype currently? Will this be a great draft class?
I think the reason it's good is because of the top 4. There's a pretty big drop-off after 4, I think, in this class. And I'm here in Chicago. I know the Bulls are happy to land 4. I'm sure the Jazz fans are thrilled to land in the top 4 out there. So I think that's why this is considered a good class. The 3rd and 4th picks this year, I think, are stronger than they are historically. And then also, man, this current NBA rookie class was so good too. And the top 4 picks, even the 5th pick, if you want to include Ace Bailey, were all really impressive as rookies. So I also think that that's played a little bit into the hype as well.
So, Ricky, give us some context on where you think these top 3 or 4 players are compared to maybe where last year was before what we saw last season. Because, yes, VJ Edgecombe was incredible, and Con was better than anyone expected, and Dylan Harper's coming on. And, yeah, Ace was really good, and we know Cooper Flagg was historically good. So where do you think these 4 or 3 guys maybe would have slotted in last year's draft, or even compared to going back to, like, a Victor Wembanyama, Brandon Miller, Scoot Henderson draft?
Yeah, like I think that AJ Dybantsa is a much better prospect than Brandon Miller or Ace Bailey. So I would say that he's immediately above those guys. Boozer and Flagg have been competing against each other their whole lives. Basically, Flagg was in this class. Imagine how strong this class would be with Cooper Flagg in it too. Flagg was always in this class, and then he reclassified to, only spent 3 years in high school, entered Duke at 17 years old. So I would put Flagg and Boozer on the same level. I always thought that I would give the advantage to Flagg because his defensive ceiling was just so much higher. But as he has taken on more shot creation ability in the NBA, and he's sort of been played more like a big wing instead of what I thought he was, which would be like a Sean Marion, Andre Kirilenko type of like all-world defender, I don't think his defense is that impressive anymore. Certainly he's got a higher defensive ceiling than Boozer, but I just haven't seen like all defense level effort out of him yet. So I think Flagg and Boozer are like right there with each other, and certainly Wemby on top of those guys. Wemby's the best prospect I've ever seen hit the NBA draft. In general, though, I would say that this group this year in the top 4 stacks up very well to the group last year. Like Edgecombe and Knipple were phenomenal, and Dylan Harper, like you said, has had some terrific flashes in the playoffs. But these guys are right there with them, and if they land in the right situations, they can have the same success.
How do you calculate Peterson's bizarre cramping issue at Kansas? Does that factor in at all?
Yeah, super weird because, I watched him score 58 points against AJ Dybantsa as seniors in high school. And when he did that, he looked like he was going to be the guy in this class. And that was when I was questioning myself having Boozer at 1 because Dybantsa just looked like he was the second coming of Kobe Bryant or something. But I think like soft tissue injuries are weird, and they're weird for fans to evaluate too. Like fans are accustomed to it being a torn ACL and you're going to be out for 9 months to a year, or a torn Achilles and you're going to be out for at least a year. Like the soft tissue injuries, there's like no timeline really on when you could come back. And I think that drives a lot of fans crazy. So I think that was part of it with Dybantsa. And then like I saw that ESPN report too, that he was just taking too much creatine and he wasn't having enough water. To me, that's like a little bit of a red flag. It's like, why wasn't he getting better advice, or, how did no one steer him in a better direction on that? I will say though, when Peterson played, he was putting up crazy scoring numbers. He was at like 45 points per 100 possessions for most of the year. So super productive on a permanent basis. And I thought his 3-point shooting was way better than advertised. He was looking like a legit movement shooter, running off screens, knocking down shots. I think he'd be a great fit for the Jazz next to Keontae George. It's like they need a bigger defensive guard next to him who can space the floor and hit threes. And Peterson can do that. And maybe he can be even way more than that if these soft tissue injuries heal and he can be back to himself, top self athletically. But, the thing I don't know, just watching the games and looking at the stats, is like, who is the person behind the player? And I think that's where like the draft intel comes in. And that is a really key part of the process that like me and you just aren't going to have access to. So I think the evaluation on the court could still be very promising for Peterson. Not as good of a playmaker as I thought he'd be. Not sure if he's a point guard like he claims to be. He looks like more of a 2 guard to me, but you got to figure out, the person behind the player as well.
There obviously is going to be some swing for these teams. They're taking a swing on somebody, hoping that they get that 1 out of 1 outcome with these players and they become a superstar. Of the 3, and let's even bring Caleb Wilson into this conversation, if any of these 4 players hits their absolute best case scenario, the way Shea has, the way Jokic has, who's the best player?
Yeah, that's an interesting question. I guess it's Dybantsa because he has the best physical tools. But to me, Boozer is the highest chance of reaching his potential, if that makes sense, or has the best chance of hitting his ceiling. But probably Dybantsa. Dybantsa's measurements today were crazy. Yeah. He's got like serious weight on him and a 42-inch vertical when you're that heavy with a 7-foot wingspan. So, yeah, Dybantsa's tools are absolutely sick. And I think that if he can hit his peak outcome, he could be scary.
Do you have any thoughts in what the NBA is going to do or is reportedly going to do about tanking this offseason? Good ideas, bad ideas? Do you like what they're thinking about?
My initial reaction was that I didn't like it because I think that like fan bases of bad teams, as someone here in Chicago, you need some hope every once in a while. And like, if you're the worst team in the league and now you're going to fall to the 12th pick, it's like, man, what are you really selling your fans? You're not selling them wins or hope. So, and I also think that rebuilding is just a healthy, natural part of the NBA life cycle. How about that too? Like, I wasn't sure if I thought the tanking problem was a little overblown personally, because like, you know, it's cool that the Pistons built their team organically and now they're a 60-win team and they're probably going to be competing deep into the playoffs every year. It doesn't mean they, you know, tricked their way into a championship or whatever, but they set up a sustainable core for what should be long-term success. We'll see. And then obviously same thing with the Spurs after getting Wemby and even the Timberwolves. The Timberwolves were a horrible organization. They missed the playoffs 15 years in a row. And now they've been in the Western Conference Finals in consecutive years. They're back in the second round. They're winning series after they get Anthony Edwards with the number 1 overall pick. So the current reform that appears like it's going to pass, it's kind of wild. It seems like it just randomizes the draft order. So like it really makes getting lucky even more important than it is now because you can't game the system at all. But we'll see how it plays out. I mean, I'm open-minded to it. Certainly I didn't like, there were some ugly moments with tanking, no doubt, and it gave the NBA some bad PR. So I'm not shocked to see them push something through so quickly. And I'm a little skeptical of this, but they got an opt-out before 2030. So I think, you know, it'll be a short-term look at what this system could look like.
Along those lines, you know, it was the Jazz took a real flyer last year on Ace Bailey. They'd never had him in for a workout. You know, obviously they'd seen him a ton at Rutgers, but the intel was not great, just like everybody didn't have, you know, particularly great intel on him. But they could do that because they knew this year they could tank again and finish with a bottom 4 record and have a very good chance of holding on to their pick and maybe even winning and getting the number 2 overall pick. And it happened. And it made last year's pick totally justifiable, and it just also happened to work out. You can't do that anymore. So how do you think it changes, A, the value of draft picks, and B, kind of how teams are going to approach it?
Yeah, well, why were the Jazz in that situation? Because they traded Rudy Gobert and Donovan Mitchell. So, like, maybe you don't go down that path. Yeah. And maybe you, like, retain some players for a longer period if you no longer feel like there's a get-rich-quick scheme at the end of the rainbow on the other side of the rebuild. So I think it's going to just, like, totally change teams' decision-making. Like, for example, someone here in Chicago, like, when the Bulls traded Alex Caruso for Josh Giddey, I was like, this is crazy because they're never going to get a bite at one of the premium talents in these, you know, next couple drafts. Instead, they'd be like a higher floor team without a very high ceiling, essentially. And it feels like the NBA now wants to incentivize that. And they want you to just like, hey, build a team that's not a civic embarrassment and build a team that is competitive at least. And maybe you could get lucky. Maybe you could get your future star that way. It sort of seems like that's what the NBA is trying to incentivize. So I have an open mind to seeing how it could work, but yeah, I would be worried. Like if you're a bad team, you could be bad for a long time. Of course, like look at the Kings. The Kings have been bad forever, even though they're always in the lottery. So it can happen with bad management and bad ownership, even in this system.
Is Oklahoma City beatable?
I think Wemby could get them, maybe. I would pick the Thunder in that series, but Wemby's just insane. So I think that there's a chance. The Spurs played him so well in the regular season. They seem to match up physically with them very well. I would pick the Thunder, but, you know, no Jalen Williams. It's not going to be a cakewalk, and I think Wemby's got it in him to, you know, pull a special moment out so early in his career at age 22. So I wouldn't feel confident in picking the Thunder, but I would still take them in that potential Western Conference Finals matchup.
Looking at what's happened so far in the playoffs, and really we can look over the last couple of years, the Celtics win a title, and obviously we know what happened last year with Jason Tatum, but they trade off all their pieces, get under the tax aprons, and then turn it on late, and you think, oh, this is a team that could get maybe to the finals again. What a crazy year. And they get ousted by a pretty mediocre 76ers team, and everyone realizes, like, oh, yeah, they were way better when they had Kristaps Porzingis and Drew Holiday and all these kind of proven players. But they did have to trade off their pieces to get under the tax aprons because they're so punitive. Is that the reality of what Oklahoma City is about to be facing in every team that reaches the mountaintop?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's what the league wants. And in a lot of ways, the league has sort of killed free agency. Like, who's been the last big free agent to change teams? It was like Kawhi in 2019. With this CBA, stars don't really change hands in free agency, but maybe one way to stock, bad teams with better players is to let some young guys actually change teams in restricted free agency because the CBA is going to be so punitive, like you said. So, yeah, I mean, look at the Nuggets this year. They got a decision to make on Peyton Watson. Are they going to trade away like Cam Johnson or Christian Brown to try to hook up Peyton Watson? Who's going to want those guys? So I think this is how it's going to be. And the Thunder are probably going to lose Isaiah Hartenstein. Like, they might lose Lou Dort. So it's going to be a different team. But, of course, they got a lottery pick this year. They got another first-round pick. The talent pipeline keeps coming for the Thunder. So they're going to be tough to beat.
I believe that LeBron will play next year because I think he does want the retirement tour. The question is where? Where do you think LeBron James plays next year? And maybe you do think he's retiring. I'd be curious to hear your thoughts.
No, I totally agree with you. LeBron likes attention a little bit too much to not do a retirement tour. So I think if he's going to play next year, and I think it would be great in Cleveland. I mean, why not? Like, go back for the third time. They got a veteran team there, obviously, like James Harden. I believe they could bring him back. You got Evan Mobley, Jared Allen, and of course Donovan Mitchell. So I would like the idea of LeBron on that team. I wonder if he would take a pay cut to go there. He hasn't really taken, a significant pay cut like that. And on the open market, he'd still be worth more. So that would be interesting. I would say Cleveland is my preferred LeBron destination, but I also think it'd be cool to see him on the Knicks if he wanted to go to the Knicks. Like, I remember in 2010, there was, so much hype that LeBron could go to the Knicks or to the Bulls. He ends up going to Miami, but I always thought it'd be sweet to see LeBron in Madison Square Garden. So I think that'd be another good option for him if he's willing to take a pay cut.
Where does Giannis end up?
Great question. I don't know. I guess Miami. Miami seems like they're the most desperate for him because they're just not escaping the middle. And I guess now being in the middle isn't so bad. You could still maybe get lucky in the lottery if this new reform passes through. But I think Miami just needs some hope. Like, Pat Riley's always chasing stars, and Giannis is someone out there who, like, doesn't seem like he's going to go for as much as, like, Gobert went for or even Mikal Bridges went for. So, like, they could potentially make a competitive offer. I think the Blazers could get in the mix too because they made the playoffs this year. They seem to, like, want to win. They also have a very cheap new owner, so we'll see how that plays into it. But I wouldn't be shocked if he wants to, make a splash and go get Giannis.
You're there in the Windy City. What do you think about Chicago's reboot?
Yeah, well, the Bulls have been a deeply pathetic franchise for the last 9 years. They have the fourth worst cumulative record in the NBA. Arturas Karnisovas was running this team into the ground straight up. So he got fired. That's awesome. Good decision by Bulls ownership. One of the first times in my life that I will praise them, but they made the correct decision to fire Arturas. And thankfully, Arturas got fired before he made a panic trade to try to save his job. So the Bulls still have all their future assets. They got the most cap space in the league because they don't have any good players. So they have plenty of cap space this year. 2 top 15 picks. So I think there's a little bit of optimism right now. Moving into 4, probably going to be Caleb Wilson. I think he's the 4th best player in this draft. But, like, why is this class considered good? I think it's because the top 4 is really good. And Caleb Wilson is probably better than, the 4th pick in most years. I don't know if he'll be better than Con Knippel, but there's been some good number 4 overall picks in recent years. And Caleb Wilson, I think, can follow into that trend. And then at 15, you just finally get that pick from the Lauri Markkanen deal and you get it in a good draft and at the absolute highest pick you could have landed, number 15 for a lottery protected pick. So I'm excited to see how new GM Bryson Graham approaches this rebuild. And he seems to be self-aware that the Bulls are pretty far away. It's not going to happen overnight, which I think is the correct takeaway from the situation. So I'm excited to see what he can do.
Ricky, for the draft nerds in general, who is a name that's going to surprise everybody being drafted way higher than they think?
That's a good question. What about Adai Mara from Michigan? I was around Michigan for March Madness. I had a credential to the Big Ten tournament, the Sweet 16 and the Elite 8 in Chicago, and then the Final Four national title in Indy. Talked to Mara throughout the process, and he was just so impressive on that run. I think he helped himself more than any other player in March Madness. Also, a lot of these supersized centers have performed pretty well in the NBA. Like Zach Edey's awesome when he's healthy, and Donovan Clingan had a pretty good season this year too for Portland. So just to be 7'3" with a 7'7" wingspan, like there's only so many of those guys in the world. Mara should be good in drop coverage defensively, and then he's a special outlet passer and a pretty capable scorer when he gets the ball inside. I was also impressed by the fact that he got a lot better as a free throw shooter over the course of the year. His numbers on the season look bad, but he was straight up trash at free throws for most of the season and then really turned it on late. So I'd like to see that improvement. I love Mara. I'm going to predict he goes 5 to the Clippers. I didn't have that in my mock draft, but Keaton Wagler and his T-Rex arms the other day is not going to win too many people over. So I'm going to go Mara to the Clippers at 5.
Ricky O'Donnell makes the magic happen for SB Nation, covering the NBA. Ricky, a real pleasure to have you on the show. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Ricky.
Thanks for having me, guys.
No, thank you. There you go. Good stuff all the way across the board.
Yeah, I mean, that's going to be a lot of the conversation you hear around the draft, which is, AJ's measurables and production already are so incredible, and Darryn was the favorite coming out of high school, and Cam Boozer does nothing but win. So how do you pick between those three? And the truth is you're not getting a bad player. Whoever you pick is going to be really good. I mean, I think they are really good prospects. Now, what they turn into, nobody knows. Again, Andrew Wiggins was supposed to be a superstar. Jabari Parker barely made it in the NBA. He was really a pretty rotten player.
I was going to say, did he?
Yeah, he's a pretty rotten player
in the NBA.
Like, didn't really ever find anything, despite the fact that he had a really good freshman season at Duke.
Well, there's the example of no heart.
Yeah,
there's the example of you can have all the capability in the world. If you don't have the heart to put into it, you're not going to go anywhere. Speaking of the Bulls, didn't he get drafted by the Bulls?
Or did he go to Milwaukee?
Oh, it's Milwaukee. You're right.
Yeah. So, no, you're right. Yeah, you've got the prospect is one thing. The performance once you get to the NBA is totally different, and then total difference, and we'll see what happens with all of these three players. But as far as the value of these prospects go, I don't know if you can go wrong. But you've got to figure out who you think once they're in your roster, wearing your jersey, is gonna get the most out of their ability.
Ricky's got a mock draft up at sbnation.com, and he's got the Jazz slotted to take Darryn Peterson. So we'll see. The Wizards GM did say some very rosy things about AJ Dybantsa, Ben. They're both from Massachusetts, so, I mean.
Can't go wrong.
That basically means they're taking him.
Yeah.
Obviously. Stay tuned. We'll have more Jake and Ben coming up next. 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Ready or not, summer is coming, and Wayfair's Memorial Day clearance is on now. Right now through May 25th, get up to 70% off everything home at Wayfair. Plus, score amazing doorbuster deals all sale long and surprise flash deals on Memorial Day. We're talking thousands of products at every style and budget. Now is the time to save big on must-haves for your patio, backyard, and beyond. These savings won't last, so don't wait. Shop Wayfair's Memorial Day clearance now through May 25th.
Wayfair, every style, every home.
If the world were like a Sleep Number mattress, everything would adapt for your comfort. Because as your life changes and your body changes, Sleep Number mattresses adapt and shift to give you personalized comfort night after night. And now everything's on sale during our Memorial Day event. Save up to $1,200 on mattresses for a limited time. To experience a whole new world of comfort, visit a Sleep Number store or go to sleepnumber.com. Sleep Number, to a good life sleep.
From lashes for days with the viral Liquid Lash Extensions mascara to awakening your eyes with lift and color from the Brilliant Eye Brightener, Thrive Causemetics is the go-to when you want to amplify your everyday look. Plus, every product is 100% vegan, cruelty-free, and made with clean, skin-loving ingredients that work with your skin. And for every product purchased, Thrive Causemetics donates to help communities thrive. So every time you use your favorite Thrive Causemetics product, you're helping communities you care about too. Amplify your everyday. Go to thrivecausemetics.com/shine26 for an exclusive offer of 20% off your first order. That's Thrive Causemetics, CAUSEMETICS.com/shine26.
The new Wegovy pill is now available through Weight Watchers. Powerful GLP-1 results in a simple pill at the lowest price available. And with Weight Watchers, you can get doctor support and personalized nutrition programs. See if you qualify at weightwatchers.com. Ad not reviewed or approved by Novo Nordisk.
I'm here on the job site with Dale, who's a framing contractor.
Hey, good morning.
Dale traded up to Geico Commercial Auto Insurance for all his business vehicles. We're here where he needs us most.
Yep, they sure are.
We make it easy for him to save on all his insurance needs, all in one place, with coverage that fits his business and bottom line. Oh, I shouldn't have looked down.
It's all right.
We're so far up here.
Look at me. Take a deep breath.
No, I'm good. So good.
Get a commercial auto insurance quote today at geico.com and see how much you could save. It feels good to Geico.
All systems go. This is Jake Scott and Ben Anderson. Now, every day from 2 to 6 on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Jake and Ben, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Join Scotty G and the coach coming up on Friday from 11 to 2 at Tim Daly Mazda, 10785 South Automall Drive down there in Sandy. It is Tuesday, and we've been doing Hot Take Tuesday at this time. Ben, you have some hot takes loaded and ready to go?
Let me pull up my my hot takes. Okay, I've got one for you. It's a little in line with what's going on right now. I don't know what the answer is. I don't care what the answer is. MJ versus LeBron is the most boring sports debate. That's been going on now for 10 years and is going to go on for another 20 or 30. I hate this take. I hate the argument about it. I don't really care. They're two completely different players with two totally different success rates. I would probably lean towards Michael, but I don't care. I couldn't care less, and it is the go-to fallback who's better. Get rid of the debate. I'm over it. And it's just going to continue to come up. And I'm sure everyone's tired of it in that sense. Not the hottest of takes, but I don't need to hear it ever again for the rest of my life. And it's going to be a big conversation for the next 3 years because LeBron is going to enter his final season. He's going to retire. And then we're going to get a year removed from him where we kind of get a retrospective on who he is. So I'm just mentally trying to prepare myself for how common this conversation is going to be. And I already hate it. Because it's already been going on for too long.
And it's not even a conversation. But Ben, who is, here you go, hot take. Jake Scott and Jim Nantz are the two greatest broadcasters in Utah sports history.
Uh-huh.
And let's debate about it.
Yeah.
I mean,
You've been here for 20 years.
I've been here for 20 years, and I've been doing a great job every single day.
You have way more Twitter followers than Jim Nantz did when he was in Utah.
Absolutely.
No question.
I think really it's the conversation of the sports media landscape here in Utah. Really, everybody's talking about it. A lot of people are putting me ahead, honestly.
Sure. Look at the numbers.
Please. I'm totally with you. It's the stupidest conversation ever. I don't even know if LeBron's in my top 5, but somehow LeBron talks himself into these conversations, and all his stupid mouthpieces like Nick Wright and what's his Bozo McMiniman and all these people that supposedly have credibility that just go out to sell LeBron's wares is so annoying and so obnoxious. It just goes to show you can talk yourself into anything. I would be open to the conversation that Michael maybe isn't even the GOAT.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
But it certainly ain't LeBron.
LeBron has had the most decorated career of all time. He's maybe the most versatile player I've ever seen. Certainly the most versatile player I've ever seen. I was not alive for a lot of players. I've never seen Wilt Chamberlain play a live basketball game or Bill Russell. Kareem, I was 3 years old, I think, when he retired. So, yeah, don't ask me about that. But, yeah, I just hate the debate. LeBron might be. I don't know. I don't care. I don't care, honestly. His career, no one's going to match it. There's never going to be another one like his. There's also never going to be another one like Michael's. So I hate the debate. My hot take is I don't want to hear it anymore, and I just know we're going to be inundated with it for the next several years, and I wish it was over.
All right, Christian, any hot takes over there?
Mine's not sports, so if you have a sports one, let's hear yours, and then I'll go last.
No, go ahead.
Okay, well, this one might be a super unpopular opinion, and I think it might be a generational thing. I think you guys are going to roast me for it.
Okay.
But I'm super, super out on getting cards for people. Like on birthdays, Mother's Day. I think it's a waste of money. I think it's a waste of time. I think there are certain scenarios where it's understandable. Like if you, for example, you send your mom flowers or something. Or you send something and you can't be there to give the gift in person. Okay, attach a card to it. Sentimental, whatever. But like if you are, your wife's birthday or whatever, and you get her a gift, why do you need to get her a card too? That you're just going to write down something that you can tell her in person anyways. She's going to open it, smile, and then throw it right away.
Hallmark needs to make money, Christian. That's your answer.
I actually have a different answer, but do you want to combat what he's saying, or do you not have anything to push back on?
I sometimes like the card because it sums up a nice sentiment. I think a gift should include some sort of nice sentiment. Now, I do think the card thing is a little out of hand.
So here's where cards come into play. And I'm going to tell you, it is actually a matter of finances. And it's not a point where anyone would expect you to be in yet. Because, Christian, you're 26 years old. You and your wife have a newborn. Your wife has a good career job. But, it's still, even in her line, is just starting. 15 years from now, conceivably, she'll be making more money. Likewise with you. 15 years from now, you'll be 40 years old. Ideally, you're, making career money and things are fine. Along those lines, your friends will also be in that same spot, or your loved ones or whoever. Now, ideally, by the time you're 40 years old, you can afford a certain lifestyle that you're happy with, and gifts that you buy for somebody because hey, we really needed this. This is a nice gift to give somebody. Don't really have that much value because you reach a certain point where if you need something, you just go buy it. You have enough money to just buy whatever that thing is, which honestly, at your point in your life, you cannot do. But once you're 40, I can't go give my friend who's a lawyer and his wife's a doctor a good gift. To give them a good gift, I'd have to buy them a Mercedes. Well, I'm not going to do that for them. And honestly, they could probably do it themselves. So actually, the best thing I could do is write them a card and be like, you have meant this to me, and I've known you since I was 14 years old, and this is why I love you, and this is why I'm proud of your development as a person. And that might actually mean something to that person. Whereas when he was 16, if I gave him NBA 2K4, we were like, whoa, this is the best friend anyone's ever had. That's where I do think cards develop more value the more money people have, because it's not fungible. If I'm using that word right, which I probably am not, because I don't know what a fungible token is or is not. But it has something that money actually cannot buy. But you know what? Right now in your life, Christian, money matters more than sentiment to you, because you guys are in survival mode because you have a newborn.
I just hate the whole, going through cards on your birthday.
Sure.
You got to throw, you read it, you say, nice, that's cool, thanks, and then just throw it away. Could have saved yourself $5.
How long do you save a card? That's a big one.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. I don't save cards.
Yeah, we still have some Christmas cards around. It's May. Probably got to toss them.
All right, I have 2 hot takes for you.
Okay.
1, Rob Pelinka is hiring his own replacement.
Okay.
So Pelinka gave he and JJ Redick did a press conference today. And Pelinka made the announcement that the organization is currently in the interview process for 2 assistant general managers. One assistant general manager will work in, quote, player draft and evaluation process, according to Pelinka, which will include pro scouting, draft scouting, and player development. The other assistant general manager will be more on the strategy side, which entails cap analytics and data. One of these 2 bozos is going to replace Pelinka, right? He's hiring his replacement.
Yes.
I don't think Pelinka, with the new ownership, in all seriousness, is not going to be the general manager of the Lakers for much longer. And so I kind of think he's hiring his replacement.
Agreed. His legacy is the LeBron trade, even though he did take advantage of Nico Harrison and bring in Luka. But somebody else is going to be tasked with winning with Luka the way Rob was tasked with winning with LeBron. They didn't trade for LeBron. He just signed as a free agent, right?
He did.
But bringing the LeBron era is Rob Pelinka's run. And I think you're right. You get new ownership, they want to bring in their people. And yes, Rob Pelinka bringing in his advisor or whatever he thinks he's doing is the Doc Rivers Milwaukee Bucks situation.
All right. Now, my second one, you've got to bear with me for a second. Okay. I have found Ben's new crush.
Okay.
All right. Now, here's where be patient, because you are happily married to a woman who does not have the tendencies that sometimes you crush on. I'm talking about your Taylor Frankie Paul crush.
Psycho.
A little bit on the crazy side.
And little is a nice word of you, but just get rid of the word little.
And you were smart enough to not marry into that vein of attraction.
But you might catch me looking.
Right. Okay. So you ready?
Uh-huh.
A woman who went viral for stabbing a Brazilian hairdresser for giving her a bad haircut was arrested in the UK last year after allegedly taking her clothes off in a bar and assaulting police.
I'm intrigued.
Look, this is your woman.
Let's careful. Oh, yeah.
Look, he says.
Yeah, this isn't from the bar.
Okay, she's clothed.
Oh, no. This is her being
arrested.
This is her being detained.
In full dress. Mostly full.
Footage of the horror moment, I can't pronounce her name, took out a kitchen knife from her handbag and plunged it into...
A kitchen knife in her handbag.
Eduardo Ferrari's back.
So she left with intent.
In São Paulo after complaining he had ruined her fringe and went viral last week. And then, of course, she was arrested for the bar incident, too. So I was just wondering if maybe this is your new crush because this is pretty unhinged behavior.
I
don't think Taylor Frankie Paul stabbed her hairdresser.
She hit her kid with a chair.
She didn't stab her kid.
She hit her kid with a chair. What's
worse, hitting your kid with a chair or stabbing?
Now, my mom's a hairdresser.
Yeah.
Was a hairdresser.
I gotta see both really bad, but I gotta go with stabbing the hairdresser.
I don't know, man. Hitting your kid with a chair is pretty insane.
Well, I did it like, well, I don't know. We're splitting hairs here, but stabbing somebody has got to be the next level, right?
It's neither great, but yes, this woman is intriguing.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I think I found your next crush.
But I think she wouldn't get along with my mom because if my mom gives her a bad haircut, my mom's life is in danger.
Yeah, that's not good.
Yeah, that's not good.
Not good at all.
But also, if I bring her into the house, my kid's life is in danger. She might throw a chair at him. Oh, no. There's like a still frame of her with her hand cocked, like the psycho position, about to come down on
the guy.
Yeah, on Ferrari. Yikes. A kitchen knife? Didn't look that big, but I don't think it's a Michael Myers butcher knife.
No.
It's like a paring knife or something. But regardless, it's a stabbing.
And pretty extreme because you didn't like your haircut.
And one thing I have learned is it's just hair. Whatever, it's just hair.
No, I think that what makes this particularly crazy is the reaction to the offense.
Completely unequal. But then again,
I have no idea why Taylor Frankie Paul was throwing a chair.
Throw a chair? She was fighting with my guy Dakota.
So the kid had nothing to do with it.
No. Nor could they ever deserve it.
Does that matter? Yeah, I don't know.
You could deserve, I guess, if you gave someone a really bad haircut, you could deserve it.
Getting stabbed?
Depends on how bad the haircut is. Oh, it's a pretty decent sized knife. I'd call it like a 3-inch blade. Maybe 4. Yeah, it's like a paring knife.
This is your gal.
I'm intrigued.
I know. That's what I'm saying. I found your new crush.
That's not even a hot take. I'm sorry.
All right, stay tuned. We've got Audio Vault next. Jacob Ben, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Ready or not, summer is coming, and Wayfair's Memorial Day clearance is on now. Right now through May 25th, get up to 70% off everything home at Wayfair. Plus, score amazing doorbuster deals all sale long and surprise flash deals on Memorial Day. We're talking thousands of products at every style and budget. Now is the time to save big on must-haves for your patio, backyard, and beyond. These savings won't last, so don't wait. Shop Wayfair's Memorial Day clearance now through May 25th.
Wayfair, every style, every home.
Warning, the following ZipRecruiter radio spot you are about to hear is going to be filled with F words.
When you're hiring, we at ZipRecruiter know you can feel frustrated, forlorn even, like your efforts are futile, and you can spend a fortune trying to find fabulous people, only to get flooded with candidates who are just fine. Fortunately, ZipRecruiter figured out how to fix all that. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/zip. With ZipRecruiter, you can forget your frustrations because we find the right people for your roles fast, which is our absolute favorite F word. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day.
Fantastic.
So, whether you need to hire 4, 40, or 400 people, get ready to meet first-rate talent. Just go to ZipRecruiter.com/zip to try ZipRecruiter for free. Don't forget, that's ZipRecruiter.com/zip. Finally, that's ZipRecruiter.com/zip.
I'm here on the job site with Dale, who's a framing contractor.
Hey, good morning.
Dale traded up to Geico Commercial Auto Insurance for all his business vehicles. We're here where he needs us most.
Yep, they sure are.
We make it easy for him to save on all his insurance needs, all in one place, with coverage that fits his business and bottom line. Oh, I shouldn't have looked down.
It's all right.
We're so far up here.
Look at me. Take a deep breath.
No, I'm good. So good.
Get a commercial auto insurance quote today at geico.com and see how much you could save. It feels good to Geico.
Make game day yours. Tickets, food and drinks, stats, and streaming. Everything you need is in the Utah Mammoth app. Download today and make game night easy. Download on both Android and iPhone. Tusk Top.
No crazy soundbite slips past these guys.
I came here for the same reason people go to the zoo.
This is another edition of the Audio Vault with Jake and Ben. On 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Jake and Ben, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Let's give away a player. Ben, caller number 12 right now, 801-575-ZONE. We're going to assign you a golfer in the upcoming PGA Championship. We'll sign out all the top 25 players in the world, and then one listener will get the rest of the field. If your golfer wins the PGA Championship, you will win a Copper Rock logo golf bag plus a $100 gift card brought to you by Copper Rock, where the pros play. It's time for the Audio Vault, the best sound of the day. Christian has selected today's, and I haven't heard it, but Christian said I was going to like it, so I am eager. This is Colin Cowherd, the radio host, giving his take on the Wizards. Go ahead. And AJ Dybantsa. Go ahead.
So AJ Dybantsa, probably the number one pick. It's interesting is that when Wemby came to the Spurs or Ant to the T-Wolves or Cooper Flagg to the Dallas Mavericks, they were kind of the centerpiece of everything. AJ Dybantsa is going to go to the Wizards, presumably, and he's going to play with Trae Young, who's hard to play with, who takes 20 shots a game and can clog up the offense. So AJ Dybantsa, who is not a catch-and-shoot guy, is going to get the ball late in the possession. I'll give you an example. I love Tyrese Maxey of Philadelphia. When he came into the league, first couple of years, he played with James Harden. James Harden stunted his growth. The minute James Harden exited, Maxey averaged 26 a game and was an all-star. Never forget when Trae Young left Atlanta. Who exploded? Jalen Johnson, all-star. So Dybantsa is a really good player. What he's not is a catch-and-shoot guy. The thing he has to work on is his shot. He is a creator and an innovator. He needs the ball in his hands a lot. And you're not going to have the ball in your hands a lot with Trae Young, who just clogs up an offense. Now, Trae Young also doesn't play defense, kind of hard to play with. So Dybantsa is fascinating. Darryn Peterson has played Dybantsa multiple times if you go back to like AAU, and Peterson's gotten the better of him. But with Peterson, you worry about the cramps, a little bit of a mental block with being healthy, was a little inconsistent. Also, Peterson plays completely in a silo. He doesn't elevate anybody else, whereas Dybantsa, although he's a great scorer and creator, can get others involved. So it's interesting because people could say, well, James Harden and Trae Young have a lot of assists. Don't conflate assist numbers with being fun to play with. Right? That don't confuse somebody who gives a lot of gifts to being somebody you always want to hang out with, right? And so my take on Washington and Dybantsa will get frustrated very quickly. You know, people confuse great defense and steals. That often means you're taking big risks and you're not in position. You're not a good team defender. You're just trying to get steals and dunks. It's the same with assists. James Harden can dominate the ball, give you the ball with 2.5 on the shot clock, and somebody hits a jumper and you're like, oh, it's great to play with. Trae Young's hard to play with. Trae Young's not a bad guy, but he doesn't defend. He shoots 19, 20 shots a game, and he has the ball a lot.
Look, if I'm a number one overall pick, let's say I'm AJ Dybantsa, and I know I'm going to have a ton of power and leverage coming into an organization. Honestly, I would want Washington to start rebuilding something entirely. I would want them to start over entirely. In fact, I think there's a real argument that Cam Boozer is the best fit with Washington. Now, as I've said, don't draft for fit in the top 3, especially of a very good draft, and this is a very good draft, so you shouldn't be worrying about fit at all. Actually, the fact that Trae Young's a good passer and Cam Boozer is a good passer could give Washington a little bit of an identity. But if I'm AJ Dybantsa or Darryn Peterson and I'm going number 1 overall, I am asking you to get rid of Trae Young. And I know that's crazy, and I'm actually asking my agent to do it because I don't want to be viewed as a bad guy. But, yeah, you got to start over. You can't have Trae's very well-established thing that he's not going to change because it's made him $150 million as an NBA player. He's not going to change his stripes. This is who Trae Young is, and he's going to want to keep doing this. I don't want that to be what my entire future is based on.
Yeah, I agree with you. They're not going to do that. They just traded for Trae Young. Washington is dumb.
They are
But
dumb.
I agree with, what's his name? Old Cowherd.
Yeah.
His Maxey James Harden thing was super interesting. I would absolutely buy into that. At one point, Ben, and sometimes I feel like I'm a broken record, but at what point are we going to realize that these guards that have the ball in their hand the whole game, that it's just not real? Like people will tell you that Ben Simmons forgot how to play basketball. Ben Simmons was never good, but he was given the ball the whole game, every game. So you look at his stats, you go, "Oh, this Ben Simmons is great." His team never went anywhere. LaMelo Ball's the same way. Trae Young, all these guys, we look at even Tyrese Maxey, honestly, a little bit. But we look at this stuff and go, "My Lanta, Ben," because we're all like I was when I was 10, where I ran to the end of the driveway to grab the newspaper so I could come in and look at the box score. And then I go, "Oh, look at what Kevin Johnson did last night. Man, that guy is terrific." We all do it, and the stats don't mean what they used to. And it doesn't necessarily mean wins or win shares or whatever other complicated stat you want to get to. Trae Young sucks. He should be the 7th or 8th player on a team if he's in the stinking league at all. But as soon as he got into the league, Atlanta gave him the ball the whole game, and you're going, "Wow, this guy is great." Is he? And then all of a sudden he's eclipsing out other players. So where I will agree with you is if I'm AJ Dybantsa, heck no, I don't want to play with that guy. I don't know if I step in and the first thing I do is demand them to trade the guy they just traded for. Seems a little bold, but I totally agree with the premise. Yeah, if I'm AJ Dybantsa, I don't want to stand there and watch Trae Young play basketball, or Anthony Davis for that matter. And I thought when we talked about it earlier, how Darryn Peterson is throwing out there that he wants to be a point guard. I think that 100% is a message to Washington. I don't want to go in there and watch Trae Young play basketball. Heck no.
Yep. Is Trae Young the worst player that could also totally drown out a top 3 pick in a draft like this?
Is he the type of player that will drown out a top 3 pick?
Is he the worst player that could do it? Because,
No. Well, maybe. But I really don't think a lot of Trae Young.
No, that's exactly what I'm saying. Is he the worst player that because of the way he plays is going to be so domineering that it's going to overshadow whatever your number one guy does? Because he does want the ball so much.
It might be Ja.
Ja could be. Could be LaMelo.
Could be
Ja's
LaMelo.
hard because you don't even know if he's going to be on the team.
Sure, you don't know if he's going to be on the team. And I don't mean specifically in this draft. I don't mean this draft. I mean
No,
period.
I hear you. I hear you. I'm trying to think. I'm racking my brain.
Here's the thing. Luka, if you gave him a top 3 pick, it's still going to be Luka's team regardless. It's Luka, But Luka's better than Trae Young. No one's debating that. He's way better than Trae Young. So he doesn't qualify in that conversation. But teams will let Trae Young clearly do this Trae Young thing. The bad news is the Wizards just traded for him. I know they didn't pay a lot for him. They gave up almost nothing, C.J. McCollum and whatever. It doesn't really matter.
He was their plan.
But they was their plan. Yeah. Their plan was Trae Young and Anthony Davis for whatever reason.
And this pick. Because they were taking the whole time to get this pick. And Alex Len.
So
Alex Len is part of their future, too.
I just don't know what Washington's really thinking there. And I would hope that, yes, if my agent said, if you're going to draft him, we cannot be trying to you can't be asking me to fit around Trae Young. Full stop. End of story. So if that's the case, don't draft him. Don't draft my guy. I mean it.
That's what they're going to do. This is Washington. There was one team that was willing to trade for Trae Young.
There was one team.
The Wizards.
Nobody wanted him.
There was one team that was going to enable Gilbert Arenas to act like a crazy person and bring guns on the plane into the locker room.
Or let Bradley Beal do Bradley Beal things.
And then pay him a supermax.
Yep.
One team.
Yep. It's a bad sign.
So, yeah, I mean, sane basketball aficionado Ben Anderson thinks that. Moron Washington Wizards, I bet, don't. And Peterson will say, "God, don't take me," and then they're going to take him. And actually, that would be, and we haven't gotten to this part, maybe we can get to it later, but that would be terrible for him. If you're looking at a person, you're worried about their habits? How do you want to put that? What are you worried about with Peterson in the sandbagging games? What's a good word that sums that up?
Effort? I don't know.
Entitlement? Any of that stuff. You're worried about his pulling in the right direction. Buy-in. Yeah, that's probably it. The Wizards are not the place to go to fix that.
No.
Just like New Orleans was a terrible place for Zion to go.
Yes.
The Wizards would be a terrible place for Darryn Peterson to go if that is indeed an issue.
Yeah.
They won't fix it.
No, they'll let him do whatever he wants.
Whatever he wants.
Yeah.
And I don't think the Jazz would do that, honestly.
Clippers were a bad spot for Kawhi to land.
Yes.
Because they enabled him to lean into his lesser
They let him do whatever he wants.
Yeah.
Including bend the rules to pay him, which is what he wanted in Toronto and what he got in L.A.
Mm-hmm.
Again, the evidence for all this has been around for a long time. In fact, the Clippers got fined for tampering with Kawhi. So, yes, I agree with you. The Clippers were the worst possible spot for that guy.
Yeah, and I don't want to totally disqualify players from making their own good decisions and being able to overcome bad organizations. I think they can. You're the right person. You can do it. But, there are a lot of people who didn't want Ace Bailey to go to certain teams last year because they worried that they would let him lean into take whatever shot you want and don't try elsewhere. And the Jazz didn't allow that to happen, and he was a much better player at the end of his rookie year than the beginning.
This is funny. Maybe we get into this in the 5 o'clock hour. Robert Griffin III just tweeted, I guess this was a while ago. He says, if this is it for LeBron James, we should all say thank you. What a career. Bob, this isn't it for LeBron James.
Yeah, it's not a chance.
Stay tuned. More Jake and Ben live at 5 next. 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
It's the best station, period.
Let's be honest. These guys have the best job on the planet.
You come to work in a frickin' bathrobe?
So if you're out there working hard, you should also expect your radio hosts to put in an honest day's work. So, of course, Jake and Ben are live at 5 with the biggest headlines and the best analysis in Utah. This is Jake Scott and Ben Anderson on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Jake and Ben, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. By the way, my daughter has trouble getting psyched up for the soccer games, so I made a Psych You Up playlist to play on the way, and I put this on there.
It's a good idea.
If anyone else has any other thoughts, I put several on there.
Like a lot of DMX.
No, I didn't put any DMX
Rough Riders
on
Anthem.
Is that really a Psych You Up song?
Gets me psyched up.
Oh, no.
Yeah, that's
That
how
one?
Rough Riders roll.
That one?
That's how I get ready for the show. I'm a Rough Rider.
Oh, that's okay. All right. That's fun.
Yeah.
My dad used to play me Here Comes the Boom.
Okay. All right. If anybody has any thoughts, feel free to share.
I'm afraid you're going to give her, like you've seen Clockwork Orange, where he, at the end of the movie, he's cowering whenever he hears Beethoven because the guy that was torturing him was playing Beethoven in the background. You're going to do that to your daughter, where now every time she hears this song, she's going to be like, it's AC/DC, yeah? She'll be like,
She's like, has that reaction?
Because she hated going to soccer so bad that her dad tortured her.
She doesn't hate going to soccer. She just need to get her a little fired up.
Yeah, I get it.
She's naturally not fired up person. Does that make any sense? And so we're trying to get her to hit the ground running, fired up. So I tried to make a playlist. And I played it really loud, and that was on it. Live at 5, brought to you by our friends at Trajan Wealth. Call Trajan Wealth today, your local trusted financial fiduciary, 1-855-TRAJAN1, or visit their website at TrajanWealth.com. Let's see here, Ben, the latest story up at KSLSports.com. Oh, what do you know? Posted like 5 seconds ago.
I just posted this.
By our guy, Ben Anderson. Jazz mailbag. What would it take to trade up to the number 1 pick? That is the latest at KSLSports.com. The biggest story of the day is the NBA playoffs, draft, the Jazz position in the draft, the future of LeBron James, all big stories today in the NBA.
Let me ask you a question. Anything happening in the NBA shaping any type of strategy when it comes to the draft?
Like anything going on in the playoffs now?
Playoffs, who's winning, what types of player are winning, does that change the way you feel about the draft?
That's an interesting question. More than I think a lot of these teams lack talent. Not the Oklahoma City Thunder. Some draft good players, but that's not what you're looking for.
Yeah, because here's the one thing that doesn't matter. I was watching the game last night, and the Thunder miss a shot, whatever it is. Chet Holmgren grabs the ball. He's surrounded by 3 Lakers players. He's pivoting in the paint. And then he rises and dunks over all of them because he's 7'1" and he's super skilled and pretty explosive and finishes. And then I watched the Spurs. And I was like, Victor Wembanyama's 7'4" or 5 or whatever he is. He's just way bigger than anyone. Well, that doesn't exist in this draft. There's not that guy.
Nor is that replicable, so I never like when people say that.
Right.
Like, why are Why is Oklahoma City historically good? Well, they have Shea. Thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks for that. So I get what you're saying there. So yes, you can't.
But a lot of teams, teams aren't creative. Most teams are not that creative because humans are not that creative. So they respond to something that they see happening with the belief that there was intent behind it. Like this could go back to hot take. One of my least favorite conversations is like, this is going to be the Oklahoma City model for building your team or the Boston Celtics model for winning your team.
Uh-huh.
Well, that wasn't a model for those teams. It's just kind of what happened to them. It's incredible that Danny Ainge was able to accomplish with the Boston Celtics what he did. But was his model, I'm going to go out there and I'm going to find, was it Billy King?
And
Swindle
him.
Pants him on live television.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to pants him so badly that the lottery balls end up in my favor where I get the Brooklyn Nets pick, and it's the number 1 overall pick.
Mm-hmm.
And then it just so happens that in that same year, Brian Colangelo is the dumbest person in the NBA and wants to trade the number 1 pick or the number 3 pick for the number 1 pick and give us even more draft picks on top of it.
Mm-hmm.
And then those draft picks are also going to hit in the lottery. So you're going to end up with Jaylen Brown and a Jason Tatum on top of all these things.
That was never the plan.
That wasn't Danny Ainge didn't sit down
and say, I know this Russian billionaire is going to buy.
Coming.
Yeah.
Same with the Oklahoma City Thunder.
Right.
They didn't know they were getting the greatest player on the planet when they traded Paul George.
No.
They didn't know they were getting the greatest player when they traded Sabonis to the Pacers for Paul George.
No, the reason that they're so good now is because they somehow talked Paul George into re-signing.
Yes.
That's if you want to look
That's the turning point.
That's the turning point. If you want to look at how this team was built, Sam Presti somehow talked Paul George into re-signing in Oklahoma City, even though he had said, which is why Indiana traded him in the first place, that he wanted to play in L.A. Somehow he changed his mind and stayed in Oklahoma City, and that is the reason why they are good today. So I totally get your point. There was no plan. They just made the correct decision or made the right move at the right time to best set them up.
So along those lines, as I watch the playoffs, you're going to see teams in the draft try and replicate, this is what the Thunder do, or this is what the Knicks are doing, or this is what the Spurs or the Timberwolves or whatever. I think it's really uncreative, and I think you actually box yourself in of saying, like, well, we got to find our version of this guy.
Oh, I totally agree.
And I think that's moronic because what you actually have to do is set the bar to be the next team that people are trying to replicate. By the time you're able to replicate what the team in front of you who's winning a championship is doing, by the time that's going to work out, you're so far behind everybody else.
Okay, I will say, well, let me ask you this. Outside of the obvious, well, they have Shea, why is Oklahoma City historically good? I'd be open to your ideas or anybody's ideas. I think part of it is they're huge.
Mm-hmm.
I think part of it is that they play like a team and that they have truly a team concept, and I do think team wins. I think Golden State played like a team and they had a team concept. I think team wins in the NBA, so I think that's part of it. But you like to say positional size.
Yeah. Shea's huge.
Shea's huge. Lou Dort isn't huge, but he is.
He plays huge.
And he's
strong
and stocky and huge. He's only, 6'1"? But he's built like a dang tank.
J-Dub is not that tall, and I know he's not playing right now.
But he's huge.
He's huge. Yeah, he's a monster.
Chet Holmgren is thin, but he's huge.
Hartenstein
is huge. Yeah. Alex Caruso is big, but plays huge coming off the bench.
Yeah.
Jalen Williams, the other Jalen, he's huge.
Yeah.
And maybe this is me diagnosing shortcomings of Jazz teams in the past, but they're small.
Yeah.
Why did we got in a kind of a debate about the Darren Boozer teams earlier in the show? Why weren't they the best teams in the league? Small.
Yeah.
Small almost everywhere but point guard.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if positionally is Ronnie Brewer small? He's certainly not big.
Yeah, he's not big.
He was like 6'6" and severely limited. But Andre Karolinko positionally was.
He might have had the best positional size.
Maybe.
Yeah.
But he wasn't giant.
Yeah.
Carlos Boozer was small. Mehmet Okur was small.
They were just really limited because of their size.
Their bench players were small coming in off the bench. What was the Rudy Donovan era? What was the problem with that? Super small.
Yeah.
Almost everywhere.
Outside of Rudy, they were really, really small.
They were really small.
Yep.
Bogdanovich, small.
Yeah.
Conley Mitchell, small.
Mm-hmm.
You look at the Bulls of the 90s, huge.
Yeah.
Especially the Ron Harper, Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen Bulls.
Yeah.
Huge.
Kukoc
coming off the bench.
Yeah.
I mean, giant. And even their stiffs were huge. Like Luke Longley was huge. They were giant.
Yep. Horace Grant.
Horace Grant.
Big dude. Yeah.
You look at the Pistons of the 90s. Huge. What do you think? The Celtics were pretty big of the 80s. I mean,
enormous.
Larry Bird being your three.
Yeah, their top three guys, McHale, Parrish, and Bird, were enormous.
So this...
Yeah, the Lakers' Magic was huge.
This is not innovative at all.
No, it's not.
And it's kind of going a little bit opposite of the point you're making, even though I totally agree with you. The innovative teams are the ones that set the pace. But in the NBA, if you're huge, it's a real advantage. Boston, the Celtics with Tatum and Brown, huge. With Marcus Smart, who plays really big, and Drew Holiday, who plays really big. Maybe Porzingis is the exception to that, but still a big team.
So to drag out this line, reflecting that in how you play, I'm really curious to see where teams fall on the Boozer. Is he huge or is he small? Because he doesn't block shots, which makes people think he's a small front court player because he's not a rim protector at all. But he's like a great playmaker who's going to play a lot at the top of the key and be a great passer. He's going to be like a huge passer. So I don't know the answer there.
He's small. He's like his dad.
I'll be curious how people respond to him. Because he has the Lou Dort, I'm also the strongest player on the floor thing. Here's what I will say about that. Whichever path he chooses will determine whether he's a great player or not a great player. If he chooses, I'm going to play more on the wing, but use my strength and my passing there as an advantage, he will look like a big playmaker, and that's going to be his best outcome. If he is a guy who's playing really close to the rim most of his career, that's a bad sign.
If the Jazz had Cam instead of Carlos against those Lakers teams, they still would have lost.
Still would have been small.
They still would have been small.
Yes. Now, on the flip side, Darryn Peterson, he came out today through Shams and said, I'm a point guard. You should play me at the point guard. Truth is, he's 6'4.5". I think he's probably right. If you're going to get if you're going to win a championship with Darryn Peterson, which, by the way, those are the types of conversations that are being had in front offices right now when you're drafting at the top of the draft. Do we think this guy's good enough to win us a championship? And it's why some teams might say, we love Boozer. He may be the number one player, but we can't afford to draft him because we don't think he can be the best player on a championship team, even if he hits his best outcome. But if Darryn Peterson does, or if AJ Dybantsa does, they can because they have that positional size. But you might look at Shea and say, well, Shea actually at Kentucky, while he averaged 5 assists a game, wasn't our idea of a point guard at the time, which is why he was not a top 3 pick. It's why he did fall into the double digits, 12, 13, 14, whatever it was. But you might be able to replicate that with Darryn Peterson, and say Darryn Peterson is a point guard and he's going to be huge at that position. And so we're going to go with that. And I can see that.
Yeah, I could. I mean, you've brought this up a number of times. What does being a point guard even mean? I just don't want him to dribble the whole game. Who cares who brings the ball up the floor? But if I'm an NBA GM, I like the idea of not starting somebody who's shorter than 6'5".
Yeah.
Which 6'4.5" is 6'6"
in shoes.
In shoes in NBA land. I mean, that absolutely has an appeal. You want to look, in all honesty, why did the Jazz lose to the Bulls in the finals? Because they
could swallow up Stockton and Hornacek.
Who do they guard?
Yeah.
Who do Stockton and Hornacek guard?
Yeah.
Ron Harper's like 6'7".
Yeah, he's huge. Scotty's 6'9".
So what the Jazz picked was, we'll play Brian Russell on Michael Jordan straight up, and then we'll help on the other guys that are so overmatched. And it didn't work.
Yeah. Well, then along
But what
those
else
lines,
are you going to do?
Yeah.
I mean, Brian Russell can only play defense on so many guys.
Yeah, that was your roster.
Yeah.
The end of the story. That was your roster. You kind of went in with a, I guess, fatally flawed roster.
Well, let me ask you this. When was the last small team that won? Because Golden State, you might say the death lineup was small.
It was.
But that wasn't the lineup they played the majority of the time.
No, it was opportunistic.
It was Andrew Bogut at the beginning, and then they had other bigs. And Klay Thompson, positionally, big for his size.
Yeah, and even Steph's way bigger than people realize.
He's, 6'4"?
Yeah.
I mean, he's certainly bigger than Donovan Mitchell.
And it's,
but
he also
maybe,
has this superpower.
Maybe I would listen to that. It was Denver.
No, I mean, Jokic is huge. I mean, he basically plays point guard.
Pretty big. Right.
Oh, yeah. Aaron Gordon was huge. Michael Porter Jr. is huge. Those are big players.
Has there been a smallish team that's won a title? I'm sure there is. We'd have to go back and find it, but mean, Golden State might be the best example, but like we just talked about, I wouldn't consider them a small team.
No, you go back and you look through, and there's just like one guy, and even the teams that aren't huge, and even like the Mavericks team, like Dirk was 7 feet tall, and they had Dampier next to him, and
they were huge.
Yeah,
Jason Kidd is big.
Mike Finley's a big guard.
Yes.
Yeah, they just had good guys. Yeah, Jason Kidd's a huge point guard. Yeah, to your point. So no, they don't qualify. No, I don't know who the last
Miami with
small
LeBron
team.
Was big, right?
Dwayne Wade's a big guard. He's not huge, but a pretty
LeBron,
big guard.
Haslam.
Yeah.
Chris Bosh.
Really big. Yeah. No,
maybe they're an example of they weren't giant, but they were still pretty big.
Which, by the way, this is the conversation of why AJ is probably going to be the number one overall.
Because he's 6'8".
Because he's 6'8". He's going to be 6'9" in shoes, super long arms. And that's why I think he's going to have the edge over Darryn Peterson ultimately. And teams do that. Again, I told you, teams are going to be wowed by Cam Boozer when he walks in. They're going to say, wow, he's just really, really big. And that's something we think we can use on the court. It just doesn't take that much creativity to find a way to use him. It's probably going to take a little more creativity to find a way to get Darryn Peterson to be a star. And you have to build big around him. The advantage for the Jazz, and again, I hate drafting for fit, but where he does fit already is what are the Jazz? Huge. The Jazz are huge now. I mean, Walker Kessler is huge. Jaren Jackson is unimaginably large. Seeing him in person, I was truly shocked. I did not realize he was as overwhelmingly big as he actually is. Lowry is massive, and now he's playing at the 3. Ace is massive, and he's your 2 right now. Mm-hmm. So if you were to have Darryn Peterson there, and look, I've loved the evolution of Keontae George, and maybe he figures out a way to stay on the roster.
He's not big.
He's not particularly big.
He's 6'4", but he's not.
He doesn't play particularly big.
No, he does not.
He doesn't play really small, but he doesn't play way bigger than his size.
And I do think you can have a player or two. I mean, shoot, you can, small teams have at it. Who's to say it's the only answer, but.
But if you were to say what's the best kind of possible outcome for this Jazz if you were trying to be big, and let's say AJ was not on the table, it's like it is. It's probably Darryn Peterson's your point guard. Ace is your 2, Lowry's your 3, Jaren's your 4, and Walker's your 5, and you've got plus 2-inch position at every single spot on the floor. Like plus 2 it's a lot. That really adds up. It just wears on teams, especially over a 7-game series. Size wears teams down, and that's why these big teams consistently win.
Well, I mean, there's a similar concept in hockey. I mean, like you want to be big because the ice isn't that big.
Yeah.
The basketball playing surface. Have you seen people advocating to make the court bigger? Mm-hmm. There's been several voices talking about that because as cramped as it is, if you've got length and size and all of that, it makes it extremely difficult on the other team. Well, honestly, whether you're good at defense or not.
Yeah.
I mean, Lamar Odom was a good defender. Was Andrew Bynum a particularly good defender, or was he just giant?
Yeah, he's huge.
Pau Gasol was never known as a super great defender, but if he's your 7'4", 7 foot playing the 4, he's going to cover a lot of ground.
Yeah. No, the NBA is actually pretty simple. I mean, it's not, but it's pretty simple right now. It's create space on offense and erase space on defense. It's just kind of the simple math of what's going on right now. And huge players that shoot threes, that's why they're in vogue. And Ace is huge and shoots threes, and Lowry is huge and shoots threes, and Jaren is huge and shoots threes. And in this sense, Darryn Peterson has a chance to be huge if he's playing point guard, and he certainly shoots threes. He's by far the best three-point shooter of this group at the top.
So if we're watching this, these playoffs, like San Antonio with Wemby is pretty big, although I think their flaw is their guards aren't that big.
Yeah, De'Aaron Fox doesn't play big.
No.
Dalen Harper will, which is why they need to move off of De'Aaron Fox immediately.
Yeah. Stephen Castle, I love Steph Castle, but he doesn't play particularly big either.
No, he's like a great defensive player and plays really fun. But yes, you're not overwhelmed with his size.
No.
In fact, outside of Wemby, I'm not sure you're really overwhelmed with anybody's size other than Dylan Harper.
Yeah.
And if they get eliminated either this round or next, I think they're going to start chasing some of those bigger wings.
So if we're looking for lessons to take from the playoffs, maybe it's a tale as old as time. Since the basketball began.
Positional size.
Have some big players.
Yep.
It's not that different from 24-hour fitness.
It's not. Why did your brother beat you why did your older brother beat you in basketball in most games? He's taller than you were.
He was taller.
Reason you didn't beat your dad until you were 16. He caught up to his height finally.
He's a lot taller than me.
Yep.
Stay tuned. More Jacob Ed coming up next. 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Make game day yours. Tickets, food and drinks, stats, and streaming. Everything you need is in the Utah Mammoth app. Download today and make game night easy. Download on both Android and iPhone. Tusk Top.
Not only do these guys give you the best Jazz coverage in the market, they've got you covered with the Mammoth, the Cougars, the Utes, and the Aggies. This is Jake Scott and Ben Anderson on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Stop, drop. It's a good song.
Is it?
Yeah. The DMX guy had it. R.I.P.
All right. I want to remind you to join us coming up on Thursday. We're going to be at Beehive Meals. They're opening their new production facility in Ogden. Tune in as Scotty G and the coach and us, Jake and Ben, bring you all of the action. I was always more of a Master P guy.
Really?
Than DMX? Yeah, I would say. Remember Master P was, speaking of agents, Ricky Williams' agent?
Yes.
I think Master P also tried to play for the Hornets G League team.
He's a really good basketball player. In fact, his son went to USC with DeMar DeRozan, if I remember correctly.
But he did negotiate Ricky...
Lil Bow Wow, right? Is his son Lil Bow Wow?
I have no idea. He did negotiate Ricky Williams the worst contract in NFL history.
Well, that's not good.
You remember that? He got drafted by New Orleans, and Master P worked out his contract that was all incentives.
Lil Romeo, not Lil Bow Wow. Oh, yeah, that's bad.
It was all incentives.
No, you want money in hand. Cash in hand is really valuable.
Especially in the NFL.
Yeah.
Where they can just cut you at any time. It was like, no, I'm going to have this rookie running back that may or may not be the most stable mentally in the world have all incentives in his contract. Ready, break.
Yeah, especially if you're risky on that front.
And Ricky Williams at the time, remember... I'm not to get sidetracked, but remember New Orleans traded, it was Mike Ditka who was running the Saints, and he traded everything to get Ricky Williams. Like, he was the dude with the ultimate bargaining position where he could have gotten whatever he wanted from the team. And Master P was like, hear me out, guys. All incentives. Every bit of it. And he ended up not seeing the end of that contract because, of course, he left. He disappeared. He went to Asia? And then came back like a year later and signed with the Dolphins.
I had Sports Illustrated come to me one time and say, would you like to write for us? And I thought, Sports Illustrated? Holy cow. And I talked to the guy and he said, we're essentially an eat what you kill company, meaning whatever you write, whatever ad traffic that generates by getting clicks or whatever, you get a percentage of the web traffic you get, which is an incentive that works if you're at a website that you know is going to generate a lot of clicks. Like if ESPN.com comes to you, or I don't know, what's the biggest website right now?
Yahoo.
Yeah, whatever. It's not the
which
biggest,
is
but
not the
no
biggest
longer.
now.
But if they were to say every time your article is seen, we're going to give you a kickback on the money, great. That's a good business. Not a lot of people logging on to sportsillustrated.com/Utah Jazz /fansided or whatever it is. So that was a Ricky Williams incentive driven deal.
Right.
Which is not always what you think it's going to be. So I said no. I said pass.
No. Master P, not a great sports agent. Ben, there is a report from Dan Wojcicki and Sam Amick that say this: Luka Doncic has already started a, quote, strict off-season diet, unquote, to stay in peak shape. And then I saw a funny retweet that says, this is the new Ben Simmons jumper videos. Remember, every season they're like, oh, did you see that grainy video of Ben Simmons cannon threes? Man, look out. He's going to be awesome.
Yeah.
So is now Luka getting in shape in the offseason, the new Ben Simmons? And I was trying to brainstorm with you off the air of other empty offseason promises.
The most famous off-season promises.
That you knew were not going to... Donovan Mitchell, every year he was here, promised he was going to get better at defense. I could picture the locker room clean-out interview where he's like, you've got to get a lot better defensively. We're not where we need to be defensively. I'm going to make sure and work and blah, 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 blah. Never happened.
Never happened at all.
Luka Doncic, remember last year? Oh, Luka's motivated now. He's motivated. He's going to come back in shape. Nico called him fat. He's going to come back a dynamo. He did not.
Wrong.
Incorrect. And now he's dieting again, Ben. If by dieting you mean vape and vodka, I believe it.
I don't, and I mean this seriously, I don't know what incentive Luka has to lose weight.
Oh, he doesn't, because they're going to let him do whatever he wants.
Yeah, he's done it this way his whole life. He won in Europe this way. He wins enough in the NBA.
He got LeBron's DJ bumped.
Right.
They now play Eastern European trance music.
They already let him leave for Europe after he got injured to go to Europe.
Yeah, he's not going to fix anything.
For
I
PRP,
totally agree.
but no, it didn't do anything. So no, I don't believe this at all. And yes, there are some famous examples of this.
How about Andre Karolinko's going to put on weight?
Yes, that was a good one.
Every year. Oh, AK is going to bulk
come
up.
back bigger.
Going to put on 10 to 15 pounds in the offseason. Never
He's
happened.
like, I tried. I don't know what to tell you. I tried. Well, you didn't try hard enough. Whatever happened, you didn't figure it out.
Isaiah Collier shooting?
Yeah, we'll see if Isaiah's shooting gets better. Walker Kessler threes is a good one right now. That might be the biggest one hanging over the Utah
Has Walker
Jazz.
ever promised that, though?
Not particularly, though he will say he's working on it. Ironically, where he does need to get better, and to his credit, when these guys say it and follow up, it's really meaningful. Rudy Gobert wanted to do two things early in his career, make his hands better and shoot free throws better, and he got better at both of them.
He did.
And they really made him an all-star level player.
Well, they made him a functional player.
Correct.
He was going to be out of the league or in the league if he didn't fix those two things.
And he fixed them.
And
it made him a way better player. Walker needs to fix his free throws. And for 5 games, it doesn't mean anything. He was shooting better free throws. And a lot of people talk about, I think he hit 75% of his threes last year because he was 3 of 4. Well, it doesn't matter. Make 70% of your free throws. That's really going to matter because late in games, I'm watching it every night, they're fouling Mitch Robinson every time he's on the floor to send him to the free throw line.
They've had to pull Rudolph off the floor because his free throws have slipped.
Well, Walker, if you want to be worth $30 million and have your defense at the rim be valuable, you've got to be able to close games. But you can't close games if you don't make free throws. So that's one of them. Another big one. Can Utah find a receiver? This year they have it. This year the transfer receiver is the guy. Well, we've heard that for 12 years, 15 years.
About all sorts of guys that weren't guys.
Different shapes, different sizes, players moving positions.
Even guys that were guys that Utah turned into not guys.
To lesser guys.
Like Darryn, what was his name? Darryn Carrington. Yeah. He came into Utah.
He came in a guy.
Left not a guy.
He
left not a guy. His career was over.
Not an NFL player.
Remember who were the three that came from Florida? What do they call those? It was Zach Moss, guy.
Tyler Huntley. Yeah.
Guy. Was
trio.
it Raylan Singleton?
Was it Singleton?
I think it was Singleton. But anyway, receiver, not a guy.
Yeah.
Every year we hear it, right? We used to hear it about BYU's defensive backs, although
I don't think it was Singleton. He came from Houston.
Okay, yeah, it wasn't. It was somebody who was there at the same time, though.
Yeah, he was.
But it kind of proves my point.
No, exactly right. Yeah, you
Hallandale.
Did.
That's what I'm looking for. The Hallandale trio. Yeah. Like Huntley and Moss, still the really guys. The receiver?
Damari Simpkins.
Nice
guy, yeah.
Not a guy.
Never became that guy.
So what is that? Empty offseason promises.
It could be a draft. Might be hard to get to 10.
Or maybe we get some Collins going. Open up the KSL
what are the
Sports.
best you're waiting for this to finally change?
Yeah, empty.
Next year's the year.
Luka, I'm getting in shape. I'm whipping it in shape this offseason. We're going to take the league by storm. Are you? DeAndre Ayton probably promises to play hard.
Every year, yeah. Yeah, Luka. It doesn't even behoove his playing style to necessarily lose all that much weight. Like, he's a lean-on-you guy.
But all these soft tissue injuries, it's all got to be related.
Yeah,
I mean, there's a reason why NBA teams want their players in shape.
Yeah, of course.
Because when you're not in shape,
he would be
you
way
get hurt.
better in shape than not in shape. But being a big, heavy guy is fine for how he wants to play. Not how the team wants him to play, but how he wants to play.
But he even got hurt in that series against the Jazz. Remember that?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he missed how many games? He missed the, last 4 games of that series?
He didn't play the first game either.
He missed a whole series? No, he did play.
He played a couple of games. I think he came back a little later.
Is that what it was? Because Brunson was taking the Jazz.
Or maybe he played the first game and then didn't play the second. But yes, he got injured.
That's what it was.
Yeah.
But he got injured. Yeah, right. So he's had injury issues that are going to come with carrying yourself that way. You know what? Jokic, surprisingly, I'm surprised he's not injured more, honestly.
Yeah. Yeah, but you know what? He got himself in way better shape from when he first got into the league, when he was a legit fat guy, and is no longer a legit fat guy. Just kind
a
of
soft body.
Kind of soft. You know what? We see it everywhere. Dwight Howard had this.
Oh, he'd promised to
Worked
learn.
out with Hakeem.
Yeah.
That's the biggest lie in all of the NBA. Working out with Hakeem in the offseason. Has never done anything for anybody. I get Hakeem rules, but that's not what happens.
How about Shaq learning how to shoot free throws?
Yeah, Shaq.
Every year. Oh, did you hear? Shaq's been working with Rick Barry. He's going to come back with an underhand style.
Yeah, right.
Remember all that?
Never happened.
He went through the one-handed thing that he did, but every year it was, Shaq's got the free throw dialed in. Look out, league. Wah, wah, wah. There's got to be more.
Oh, yeah. Call in. Use the call in. That's a great idea.
So you can go to the KSL Sports app, hit the call in feature, and send it on in.
What is the biggest one for the Jazz right now? It might be Walker threes. At least that seems to be the one everyone's waiting for, like fans are waiting for.
Yeah, but I don't know if that's actually what he's doing. Maybe
Agreed.
Agreed. The one with the Jazz right now.
Keontae defense is a big thing that has to come around.
But has
if
he
it doesn't
talked
come
about
around,
that much?
He says that, well, at least the Jazz say that's going to be Bryce Sensabaugh says it a lot too and hasn't gotten much better. Well, this can also come from coaches. Like Will Hardy, and Austin Ainge, not a coach, he's the president of basketball ops, said in the exit interviews, defense, no question. Not going to see the floor if you don't play defense. Okay. It's easy to say.
Well, he couldn't follow through on that threat this year.
He couldn't this year, but he did say it a locker room clean out at the end of this year.
Yeah.
We'll see what that looks like next year.
If he means it.
Yeah.
Well, if Bryce Sensabaugh isn't on the team next year, then you'll know he meant it.
Cody Williams is getting minutes over Bryce Sensabaugh. There'll be a reason.
No, I'm sure that was maddening for Will Hardy not to get distracted, but not having any leverage to coach. I mean, because that is your leverage to coach to get players better is playing time.
Yep.
And to basically not be able to do that because you were trying to lose. I mean, how do you get players better or to pick up good habits?
Yeah.
Stay tuned. More Jake and Ben coming up next. 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
I'm here on the job site with Dale, who's a framing contractor.
Hey, good morning.
Dale traded up to Geico Commercial Auto Insurance for all his business vehicles. We're here where he needs us most.
Yep, they sure are.
We make it easy for him to save on all his insurance needs, all in one place, with coverage that fits his business and bottom line. Oh, I shouldn't have looked down.
It's all right.
We're so far up here.
Look at me. Take a deep breath.
No, I'm good. So good.
Get a commercial auto insurance quote today at geico.com and see how much you could save. It feels good to Geico.
Not only do these guys give you the best Jazz coverage in the market, they've got you covered with the Mammoth, the Cougars, the Utes, and the Aggies. This is Jake Scott and Ben Anderson on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Two amigos on the airwaves, talking sports. They got it made, Jake's and also loves his tie-dye. Ben's got style with his scarf. Oh my.
Jake and Ben, want to remind you about Sound Sleep Medical. Get a free sleep screening and consultation when Scotty G and the coach broadcast live from Sound Sleep on Wednesday. That's tomorrow. Visit Sound Sleep Medical with 6 convenient locations across Utah and start sleeping better today. Ben, let's get one more qualifier. Caller 12 right now, 801-575-ZONE. We're going to assign you a golfer in the upcoming PGA Championship. We'll assign one of the top 25 players in the world, plus one listener will get the rest of the field. If your golfer wins, you get a Copper Rock logo golf bag and a $100 gas gift card. It's brought to you by Copper Rock, where the pros play. 801-575-ZONE, 801-575-ZONE. Ben, you have some breaking NBA news for us?
Daryl Morey, your favorite general manager in the NBA, is out. Fired by the Philadelphia 76ers.
Honestly, should never have been hired by the 76ers. Is Elton Brand still, I think he's still employed by them, right?
It sounds like that, yes. Daryl Morey is out as president of basketball operations with the 76ers after 6 seasons, sources tell ESPN, per Shams. Morey and the 76ers owner Josh Harris and David Blitzer met on Tuesday evening in Philadelphia, and the decision was made to part ways.
Well, he's done a terrible job.
He has had this on-again, off-again relationship with James Harden. It's who his career is going to be most closely tied to. Acquired him in Houston, traded him out of Houston, went to Philly, got him in Philly, traded him to LA. But it just kind of has always been the thing. I think what Daryl Morey's always been good at is creating a mess and then finding a way out of the mess. And people are like, wow, how did he get out of that one? But he doesn't necessarily build the next good thing.
What mess has he gotten out of?
Well, having James Harden in Philadelphia.
Yeah, did he really get out of that? Because
Philly traded him.
Yeah, but Philly didn't get any better.
They got to the second round. Like, they didn't get worse, and so he gets credit for that. Do I think that deserves credit? No, but they give him credit for that.
For not getting worse?
I mean, we played sound earlier from Colin Cowherd, and he said, well, James Harden moved out of the way, and Tyrese Maxey turned into an all-star.
Mm-hmm.
Well, okay, but you brought James Harden in to play in front of him in the first place. That's your problem.
He did draft Maxey.
Yeah, he drafted Maxey. So there's some things there.
Yeah, I just don't think he ever knew what he was doing.
I mean, yeah, Philly's had all these, high draft picks and good players and can't get out of the second round, and then they just got absolutely walloped in the second round.
He always bugged me because I've just never seen a general manager get more credit for doing nothing.
Yeah.
Like
That's totally fair.
for not accomplishing anything, but everybody thought he was this genius. And I had never understood why. I mean, after he left Houston, he automatically got a job with Philly. I mean, he didn't even stay sidelined for that long. Philly was like, holy cow, I know we already have a general manager, but we have got to hire this guy. He's a genius.
Chicago's lucky they already hired a front office person because I think they would have hired him if not. Because they'd have been like, this guy's got tons of experience. He built all those teams with Houston. So we'll go with him. Which probably wouldn't have been a good idea, but they might have. And then what would they have done? Paid James Harden to come join their roster.
So I don't know what this means for the future of Philly. They're saying that Nick Nurse will be retained.
Just surprising to me. I know Nick Nurse does not have a lot of fans around the NBA, but I'll be curious. Obviously, the next big decision is what happens with Joel Embiid. Are you just saddled with him? They might be.
They are. I hold on, Ben. Have you seen his contract?
No.
Here, let me look it up real quick. I think he's got 3 years of a Supermax left. So I don't know how you trade that.
Because their roster should be Tyrese Maxey, VJ Edgecombe, and then build around that. It's a really dynamic backcourt. Both of those players are very good. Probably both going to be all-stars going forward. How do you maximize having an elite backcourt like in that fashion? And they didn't. They're going to try and do it without Joel Embiid, I would think, but they might not be able to get out of it.
I forgot he extended Paul George. What an idiot.
Yeah, you got Paul George.
Joel Embiid makes $58 million next year, $62.7 the year after that, and then a player option for $67.3. And let me tell you, he's going to pick that up.
Up that option.
But do you
He's not
realize
gonna be able to walk by then?
That Paul George makes $54 million next year and $56.5 the year after that?
I forgot that's who they traded James Harden for.
So he didn't get out of anything.
No, right, exactly.
He didn't get out of anything.
People perceive him as getting out of something when really all he's doing is setting a bigger fire.
Oh, my gosh. Can you believe that Paul George is due $110 million over the next 2 years?
Those two players, Joel and Paul George, are owed $110 million every year combined for the next 2 years at least. It's tough. It's a real bad spot.
Yeah, they're not going to trade a Joel Embiid.
Yeah.
No, that's not happening.
Like, honestly, the best case scenario for them is trade Joel Embiid for Anthony Davis and then get out of Anthony Davis's deal when it's over. Like, that's your out.
Always picking on the Wizards.
Yeah, but they will take the old maid, apparently. And then you're like, you got Joel Embiid and AJ Dybantsa.
Oh, you're going to be great.
You're going to be great. And AJ or Joel plays 32 games. Trae Young doesn't pass the ball. And AJ just sits back with his hands in his pocket saying, I can't believe I ended up here.
Prediction. The Wizards hire Daryl Morey, and they trade for both Joel Embiid and Paul George.
We got a team.
All right. Do we have a call-in we want to play, Christian?
Yeah, this is Brady. Brady sent in a response to your empty off-season promises.
Every year, Aaron Roderick promises that he will pass to the tight ends more and involve them more in the offense. Never does. Isaac Rex could have been a leading receiver for BYU. He ended up being for the tight ends, but he could have been so much better than he was and really had a chance in the NFL, but didn't thanks to A-Rod.
That actually is a good one. A-Rod, remember, did not utilize the tight end at all when he was at Utah. They didn't mix the tight end thing back into the picture until Andy Ludwig came back. And that's an interesting one. Yeah, you could make an argument. Isaac Rex is one that BYU used as underutilized tight ends. Very good. Who was that, Christian?
Brady.
2
or 3 years, Utah was tight end university. Now, Carson Ryan last year had a good year. He had a good year at BYU, but was not certainly the focus of the offense. Probably shouldn't have been, but yeah, and that's a great call.
If you ever have a call in, download the KSL Sports app, hit that call-in feature and share. Appreciate Brady for doing so. More next, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
If the world were like a Sleep Number mattress, everything would adapt for your comfort. Because as your life changes and your body changes, Sleep Number mattresses adapt and shift to give you personalized comfort night after night. And now everything's on sale during our Memorial Day event. Save up to $1,200 on mattresses for a limited time. To experience a whole new world of comfort, visit a Sleep Number store or go to sleepnumber.com. Sleep Number, to a good night's sleep.
We have the tech to get food delivered in 15 minutes, but we all have horror stories about buying tickets. The Game Time app gives fans the advantage. Get amazing tickets in just a few taps. Fees are included, so what you see is what you pay. And the Game Time guarantee means authentic tickets at the best price every time. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets to concerts, sports, comedy, and more with Game Time. Download the Game Time app and create an account for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply.